the Gfinity Supercars Eseries is headed for the home straight. And it's a race in two for the Drivers' Championship.
Oh, you watch, Rogers will get them both.
Points leader Josh Rogers has the edge over his Walkinshaw Andretti United teammate Jared Philsell after a dominant display in the UK.
And Josh Rogers is putting his foot down on this championship.
There was also a breakthrough win at Boost Mobile Racing.
And Ethan Grigul picks up his first win.
Now, with the top five guaranteed a slice of the prize pool, can the title favourite keep his cool to lift the coveted trophy?
He'll be heading to the final round with an almost unassailable lead.
There's plenty at stake as we return down under to race on some of our favourite circuits in the ultimate showdown. It's trophy night for the final time in 2019. It's the Gfinity Supercars Eseries brought to you by Shannons. And it's all part of a giant week of Supercars action that goes all the way to Newcastle with Super 2 and the Supercars Championship all winding up. This is really, really exciting. It was the British tracks last week, the Australian trio tonight. Oran Park, it's back. Phillip Island and Bathurst, the perfect way to wrap up this Aussie series. Once again, and for the final time, it's Briony Ingerson.
Hello, Chad. Hello, goodbye.
It's been good. Hello and goodbye.
It's been a fantastic series so far, and I really think that we're going to see the levels just ramped up tonight because there is still a lot of pride on the line, there's points on the line, there's money on the line, and I think a lot of people have got nothing to lose, everything to gain.
How cool is this? Great. Last week we put out the call, we made a personal request. We wanted this guy and we got him. It's Ryan Walkinshaw, the team owner for Walkinshaw Andretti United. Mate, thanks for being here. This is great.
No, thanks for having me on. I've been watching the season, the series all season, so big fan. It's really been great watching our guys up there. So appreciate the invites and hopefully I don't swear tonight.
And you just you sent him, you tweeted him.
Well, we invited him live in the show,
and then you sent a tweet.
I sent a tweet on the way home in the cab. Said Ryan, you see?
I actually thought you guys were joking when you did it live on the show, but yeah.
There you go. And 1 week later, here you are. So we are ready to go.
Just tweeting Ryan Reynolds to invite him on for round 7.
The other Ryan. I got my Ryans mixed up on Twitter. I went to get Ryan Reynolds.
He doesn't need to know that there's no.
It was Ryan's story I went looking for. Got the wrong Ryan. All right, let's look at the championship picture because for your boys, it's looking very, very good. 1-2 in the points with this one night of racing go. 3 races. The serious business for mine is second down to 5th.
Yep.
Never ever say never, but Josh Rogers looking pretty good for this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he just needs to outscore Jared Philsell by 22 points over the 3 races tonight to take the championship. And for Jared to win, he needs to outscore his teammate Josh by 129. Yep. There is 150 points available across the 3 races. So mathematically, he is still in with a chance. But I think if with anything's to go, we've seen the warm-up races tonight. Qualifying's had its own dramas as well. So I just think we're in for a mixed bag tonight. Can't wait. It's not going to be as easy as you guys are making it out to
be. Maybe not. But there is some pretty serious prize money up for grabs. So let's check this out. Check this out. First and second, if you can pull off the 1-2 tonight, Ryan, it's worth $17,500. Not bad.
It's not too bad, is it? I'm going to have to check the drivers' contracts and see if that goes to the team owner or the drivers. But either way, I think there'll be some nice money that goes into the Christmas party.
Congratulations, Josh and Jared. You've won $17.50.
Well, the difference between finishing second and 5th is worth $6,000 tonight. And they're all pretty tight in the championship at the moment. But it's all about Josh Rogers at the moment on top, looking very, very smooth to continue on his form. Well, pretty much since Bathurst all the way through to now. So picked up another couple of race wins. It's just 19, Ryan, and he seems very cool under pressure.
Yeah, he does, and he's shown that over this season as well because, these races have been pretty close. And I said to you guys earlier, I've been surprised by the level of quality and of all the driving across the series so far. It's amazing how we found 12 drivers out there in our first season who really set a really high bar for anything we do in the future. Josh has obviously done an incredible job to be leading going into these last 3 rounds, and for such a young guy being able to do what he's done, I think is really impressive.
We've seen such good involvement from the different supercars teams in this championship. Walkinshaw, Andretti United, obviously Red Bull and Brad Jones Racing.
Boost Mobile.
But it was Boost Mobile that I wanted to give a very special mention to because they picked up their first ever win at the last round. It was Ethan Grigul driving. It was the reverse grid win, but he had to convert this off a pretty good starting position. There was a bit going on behind him. This would be a pretty special moment for him to pick up his first race win. and your guys behind them were having a pretty seriously heated battle.
Yeah, bit of a tussle.
Yeah, so there was, well, actually, this is sort of a race in two parts, wasn't it, Briony? Because we had Jared Filsell trying to push his way through the field, and Josh Rogers, who just minded his own business, and things like this kept happening up the road.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's Emily Jones and Jake Burton. They're having their own tussle behind. I don't think they quite got the results they had wanted, but it was a really strong performance by Ethan Griggle, and he needed that. You know, first win for the season. It's a nice way to head into the last round, isn't it?
Yeah, and it also means that Red Bull are the only team that are actually yet to win a race, which is very unlike anything that we usually see in supercars.
Oh, I think it's a nice change.
That could very well change tonight.
Yeah, no, very well could. And, you know, as Briony pointed out earlier, you know, there's a lot of people with nothing really to lose tonight. They're going to be looking at that prize money, trying to step up the ladder a little bit more to get a little bit more of that prize money. So what's been good about the reverse grid races, from what I was saying prior, is that, you know, we're never going to do this in supercars. It's something that a lot of people see as not real racing. But it's actually been really, really exciting to watch how a supercar race with a reverse grid could actually look. It's actually really exciting. You know, it's a great, from purely a spectator point of view, you know, we've had some really, really exciting racing because it mixes it all up.
They used to do it in Super 2 not that many years ago.
We've been pushing it hard from this desk.
Yeah, we certainly have. Yeah, right.
But it's not our money on the line. Speaking of money, the Shannons Classic Moments, it's up for grabs once again tonight. But before we get to there, let's check out this week's winner. Your boy was involved, but he was on the wrong side of this one. It's Ethan Griggle. So the news gets even better for Boost Mobile Racing because their driver has picked up $500. So well done to Ethan, topping off a great week for him. And Trent Thomas from Redbank in Queensland picks himself up $500 as well. So that's 2 GRM winners in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Trent, they're raking in the cash.
Bring it at home.
What he's going to spend it on. Hopefully.
Come to Newcastle this weekend. Join the party.
Absolutely. Comes to see.
Last minute trip down.
Yes,
exactly. There's going to be lots to see in Newcastle regardless, but there's going to be 3 more happening at the end of tonight that are definitely worthy of your vote. So head to the E-Series website. We'll be announcing those winners online because we won't obviously have the show next week. So keep an eye out for that one as we push through. All right, let's take our attention now to Oran Park because this is a really cool racetrack with so much history. And I'm really excited to see this back. It's almost a bit of retro round tonight. We're going to go for a ride with Madison Down in the Shannons car. This is an old school, cool circuit, opened up in the 60s. And it's fair to say, Ryan, a lot of our fans really miss it.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually never been there, and I've only ever seen old footage from when supercars were there from you know, well before my time involved. What's great about this E-Series again is we've managed to be able to see what supercars races could look, admittedly virtually, on tracks which may not be existing anymore, or also tracks where we know, you know, we're never going to go and race in Silverstone. So to be able to see what a supercar race could look like at some of these international circuits has been really, really enjoyable to watch, and you know, quite unique.
So it's got that beautiful old figure 8 style to it where you run across the GP circuit and then back onto the old part of the track here. And it's got one of the best last sectors in Aussie motor racing. Such a shame that it went the way that it did. So through turn 9, the famous flip-flop, 10 and 11, get the car on the curb there, get maybe up on 2 wheels, and this famous last corner where you drift the car out towards the concrete wall, right where the pit entrance is as well. So it's a very, very difficult pit entrance to make work. Really looking forward to seeing them go racing there for 16 laps tonight. So that'll be the first race. That'll set the grid for a reverse grid race, which will be Phillip Island. But we unleashed Ryan Walkinshaw on Oran Park earlier today. How'd you go?
Not very well. I'd never driven the circuit before, and I didn't even know where the corners were. So it was a lot of guesswork, a lot of really, really bad gear shifting, a few spins.
Yes. If you're going to be doing it, you're doing it in style. The Logitech equipment was very kind on you.
Yeah, no, the Logitech equipment was great. My inability to get a decent lap in was purely my own lack of talent, and certainly not the hardware that I was using. I'm not going to blame my tools, I'll blame myself. Yeah, I might give it another go at the end of the day because it actually wound me up a little bit that I was that bad. So I'm glad we didn't show the whole lap. I'm really happy that didn't happen.
Well, we would have taken 5 minutes of our segment.
So didn't quite have enough time for that.
No,
I love how many people, drivers, team owners, whatever, guests, have come in here and gone, where's the sim and when do I get to have a go at it? It was pretty much exactly what you did today when you walked in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I saw it here and I saw, you know, a few of them down there, and it was quite good to see one was all booted up and ready to go. So I didn't realise it was going to be played on TV at any point, but
Surprise.
Nice surprises.
We had qualifying at Oran Park just before we went on air, which is what we do every round. Sort the grid out. Looks like it's cold, tricky conditions there as well, very overcast. And it was Jared Filsell. So great work, Jared, taking his first pole award. So personal best for him. Josh Rogers, man, he's good. So 3 seconds and 3 firsts from the 6 qualifying sessions for him. Dane Warren is also up there for Red Bull, floating around, ready to take his first win. We had personal best for Brady Mize, who picked up 7th, and Ethan Grigort, who finished 5th. He's finally broken his 4 consecutive 6th place qualifying efforts, so well done to him. Madison Down fighting for 2nd in the championship. He's within striking distance as well, inside the top 5 spots. But we did have one fairly large moment coming onto the front straight.
Yeah, Emily Jones here just got too close to the wall and then did a bit of a, what are they, ollie? Is that not?
That is not an ollie.
Yeah, a bit of Tony Hawk action going on
a
there.
Tony Hawk term
Bit of a grind.
thing.
A grind.
A grind.
Call it, yeah.
That's it, yeah. And upside down for her. So she's going to be starting, unfortunately, off of the last row. So she's got some work to do ahead of her.
Yeah, and if you've ever wondered what Briony's skateboarding knowledge is, now you know. Looking forward to her fun facts, which will be coming up hopefully a bit later in the show about each circuit as well. Let's check in with our pole man, Jared Philsell. Congratulations, buddy. You've managed to put this thing on the pole and in front of the team boss as well. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's good to get another 1-2 for the team. More importantly for me to stay in front of the championship contenders behind me, which is always...
So is 2nd very much the goal tonight in terms of the championship?
Yeah, definitely. I don't really care where I finish, as long as I finish in front of the guys behind me. Yeah, Josh has just done an absolutely amazing job all season. We've basically ran the same setup. He's just driven much better than me, so you can't fault him.
Bryony has been pushing tonight that she reckons the gloves are going to be off. She reckons it's going to be very competitive on track. Gloves on, gloves off.
Gloves on. Either way, Jared, I did overhear Ryan saying earlier, I'm pretty sure he said you have permission to take Josh out.
I didn't.
You did not? Oh,
No, I didn't say that. So I was actually complimenting how clean they were racing.
Oh, that's right. I got that mixed up.
And I complimented obviously his profile picture on screen at the moment. It's absolutely, look at that. That is absolutely magnificent. He's like a stern wizard. It's just amazing. Such a good pick.
Jared, best of luck, mate. The team boss is wishing you all the best. I think that's the easiest way that we could say it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll give it a good crack.
Unflappable, isn't he? I like it. All right, we're not too far away from going racing here tonight. It's the final night of the championship. On the way to the break, we're going to get to know another one of our drivers. From the Raw, it's Brenton Hopson.
Been sim racing since 2014. Somewhat of a veteran amongst some of the other people about. Just always about trying to do the best I can every time I hit the track, pretty much. I do have a bit of a following on YouTube, Twitch and social media, so Hobbo88 is what I go by. Started creating content for YouTube and other social media stuff, just basically out of wanting to share what esports is, what sim racing is to the masses, I guess. My family were around motorsport as a kid, so I've been exposed to it from a very young age. I grew up as a fan of speedway racing, but then also touring cars and Gfinity Supercars. Peter Brock fan as a kid, and icons of the sport like that. Family is very, very important. I've got a wife and 2 kids that motivate and inspire me to do the best I can every time that I hit the track. Cooper, little 3-year-old, and Madison. She's not quite 1 yet, but they certainly keep me on my toes at home. When I'm not on the track, I'm a web designer by trade and a bit of graphic design and video editing, and it goes hand in hand with all the stuff that I do. It's a big competition and there's a lot of spotlight on it and a lot of exposure for all of us guys that are racing.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
So this is how we queue them up for the final, for the first round, or the final round of the night. So first race tonight, Oran Park, race 14. There we go, off and running. Jared Filsell on the pole alongside Josh Rogers and Dane Warren. So that is the top three. And looking forward to seeing what Jake Burton can do for Brad Jones Racing from down as far as sixth position. Like I mentioned, personal best qualies for Ethan Griggle and Brady Myers tonight. So well done to them. And remember, Josh Muggleton and Brenton Hopson fighting for their first podiums of the season so far. So we are ready to go. Oran Park is the first of the three races tonight if you're just joining us. 3 Aussie tracks, Phillip Island and Bathurst as well. And the championship is well and truly alive. So let's check in with Jonathan Simon down in Melbourne. And it's a big warm welcome to you for the final time as well, mate. This championship picture, it could be solved in the first of the races tonight.
Yeah, it could definitely be. If Josh Rogers, Jared Filsell's teammate, if he wins this first race, then Jared needs to finish fourth or higher to for this championship to continue on to Phillip Island, the penultimate race. And from then on in, it's just going to get harder for Jared. Yep. So essentially, Josh has got one hand on the trophy, but he's not mathematically there.
I'm really excited about that fight for second down to fifth in the championship. I think really that's where we should be looking tonight.
Yeah, and that's where all the prize money is being paid, isn't it? So a bit of extra cash for these drivers who work so hard throughout the year. And before the race begins, the drivers are frantically practicing for that pit entry at Oran Park, which is just ever so classic, isn't it? They're going outlap pit, and a lot of emphasis on that coming towards this 16-lap event. Okay.
Thank you very much, Jonathan Simon. So keep an eye out for that. The pit stop process, Briony, not allowed to pit on the last lap, but we've seen just about every other lap tried out at some point this year.
Yeah, absolutely, except for Ian Ford, who seems to consistently choose the last lap that he can, not the last lap, but I guess the second to last lap.
Yep. Typically, he does go all the way through the race, always the last to pit.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see if anyone changes strategy tonight. The other person I'm looking forward to seeing is Richard Hampstead, because in qualifying and in practice a little earlier, he was pretty aggressive. Can he continue that on in this race? Let's have a look.
All right, let's go racing. We're back at Oran Park. It's been over a decade since Supercars raced there, but tonight we can recreate it for the E-Series. And let's go racing. Great to have Ryan Walkinshaw on the desk tonight as his two boys lead us through the first corner. Dane Warren with a little peek to the inside at turn 2, and off goes one of the Boost mobile cars, and I think Brady Myers. So his best qualifying effort, and he's gone at the very first couple of corners. So they'll go to the back. I think it's Ethan Griggoult who went off the road. So that's trouble for them straight away. Dane Warren tucks into third spot. Can he get his first win of the night? The first win for Red Bull. We're off and running at Oran Park. Good start for the Walkinshaw boys.
Yeah, not too bad so far. They've both kept it clean. It's been a good start for Jared and Josh. You know, they've clearly got the Red Bull car pretty close on their tail as well, so it looks like they're pretty pacey, actually. So I think that little group of three will probably pull away a little bit. yeah, hopefully hopefully Dane doesn't get in front of one of my boys and split them up, because we've seen what's happened previously in this racing series so far this year. It starts to get a little bit chaotic when that happens, but yeah, so far keeping them both first and second, I'm pretty happy. Let's hope they bring it home like that.
As it stands, that is enough for Josh Rogers to wrap up the championship in this race, but early days as we go flying past the pit exit and into turn 1. I love that sweeper that is turn 1, and then hard on the brakes for turn 2. Such a cool old school complex of corners, famous track, which is sorely missed in the championship these days.
Doesn't this just make you want to wish that the track was still there? I mean, I'd love to hear if anyone's watching on Facebook Live at the moment. Yeah. If you went to Oran Park at any point, visited there, watched a race there, what your memories were of it. I was there in 2007 and 2008, and it was a fantastic circuit to watch.
I know Madison Down, who's in this race, currently 4th. He would have been there as well. He that was his local track in Sydney's southwestern suburbs. Grew up there, went to the track with his dad, fell in love with the sport. Here he is racing on it tonight in the E-Series. Such a cool story. And if anyone's watching right now, let us know your memories of Oran Park. Maybe someone's watching from Oran Park. It's now all, of course, houses.
Yeah,
which is,
I'm sitting in my lounge room on the front straight.
Yeah, exactly, pretty much. We go down the front straight right now, past the pit entrance. No one brave enough for a pit stop this early in a 16-lap race. It's a fast first corner.
Fairly heavy on the braking, doesn't it? A few squeaky bums coming in there.
And tyres too. That was a left front lock-up for Dane Warren. Just got away with it. So remember, pit stops, you have to take on 4 tyres. Plenty of inside locking going on up at turn 3 as well. This is turn 4, the old champion curve. And you climb up the bridge.
This is good. A bridge is good, isn't it? We need more racing circuits with bridges, I think.
Need more bridges.
Totally agree. Totally
bridges,
agree.
tunnels, figure eights. Yeah.
We have multiple bridges, maybe like 3 or 4 in a row. Why not?
We had Suzuka as well, didn't we, earlier this year? So
we did.
A couple of figure 8 circuits, which is good to see. I think there's a prime candidate for someone to pit out of this battle pack very early. Reason being, I don't think tyre degradation is going to be huge here tonight, and there could be just a lot of time to be found by getting out of the train. So if anyone's brave enough to try and take an early pit stop, not this time by.
Front guys, no.
Motor on by.
It's interesting, we've not seen that many undercuts work successfully this season. It's been quite unusual to see, because obviously in supercars it's something we look at really quite attentively during the race to see if we can try and get a bit of clean air and try and pull a couple of positions on people if we're in a tight little battle pack like this. But so far this season we've seen a few people do it and they've not been rewarded for the risk.
Yeah, I wonder why it hasn't worked.
Track temp.
Okay. Well, I hadn't even finished my question, Chad.
I knew exactly where you're going with it, Briony. No, track temp is the answer, because remember round 1 we had sunny conditions and the track temp was huge, right?
Yes.
50, 60 degrees, and as a result, the tyre deg at Phillip Island in particular was good. If we get a hot track at Phillip Island, the undercut will be back on.
Okay.
So, calling it early.
It's a great shot, isn't it? I know. The onboard shots that iRacing supply have been primo all year.
Yeah.
Really good. Really make you feel like you're actually, on board.
All right, we go past this pit entrance once more. The 2 Walkinshaw boys, they are very, very close. We have had a pit stop. Let's check in with Jonathan for the latest.
Quick stop by Brady Myers. Nothing really fascinating, but he did go off at the start of the race, so this could just pick up the rhythm for him and just give him a bit of a refresh, like a timeout in most other sports. So hopefully Brady Myers can undercut a few drivers ahead of him here.
Okay, good pickup. Thank you, Jonathan. I think he's got good car speed. He qualified 7th, but then dropped to the back on lap 1. So an early pit stop and maybe a pickup from just a few seconds worth from the on-track battle that's starting to kick off here.
We talked about this last week in certain races where the 2 leading cars followed each other into the pits, and it was either yourself or I think it was Nick Perkett who was our guest. It was like, why wouldn't you do an alternative strategy? Because if you follow them in, you're just going to follow them out. What do you think is going to happen here tonight with Jared and Josh?
Well, I think Josh has got the speed.
Pit at the same time?
I think Josh has got the speed looking at this to be able to pass him on the track. And we saw in the warm-up races tonight, he was really aggressive at turn 2. So he might not need to try a different strategy. Let's see if he's going to roll the dice here with a pit stop. No, either of the front 2 guys coming in. But this is where I think turn 2 is his best corner to make this stick. If you can be close enough through here at turn 1 and have a big look down the inside now, he gets really close but not close enough. Jared holding his nerve.
Yeah, exactly. I think he knows as well that, you know, if he keeps his nose clean in this race and doesn't take too many risks, he's pretty much got the championship. Well, that is the championship, sort of, isn't it? If he finishes in his current position. So
that's all he needs.
You know, for himself and for the team, he probably doesn't need to take a risky move. If one opens up for him, then obviously he's a racer and he's going to take it. But you know, I don't think you're going to see anything too risky from him.
Fight for third, looking back off Dane Warren's car.
Dane sort of slipped away from the leaders a little bit too over the last couple of laps. He was right at the back of Rogers probably 2 laps ago, and he seems to just eked it out. What is it, 0.7 of a second? Yeah, almost a second behind now.
He did have a couple of big lockups as well going into turn 2, which may have contributed to that a little bit.
Or a couple of wheels in the dirt there for Dane as we get ready to run onto that front straight again. That crowd in the background, that's exactly what it used to be like. And you've asked the question, Briony, and plenty of people throwing in their memories right now. Zach on the Facebook stream saying went in 2004, it was awesome. Went for the 1990 Australian Touring Car Championship finale, says Shane Barker. I'm going to the finale this week, and these days it's in Newcastle. So keep those memories going right now on Facebook Live, and we will get the chance to maybe throw some of your questions at Ryan later in the night.
This obviously was the track where Craig Lowndes wrapped up his first ATCC Supercars Championship in 1999. We've all seen that vision of him celebrating at Oran Park.
His last championship.
His last championship.
His last.
First and last.
No, 96 was the first.
Oh, 96.
Yeah.
No, 99 was here.
Yes.
Good chat.
20 years later, here we are talking about it.
We got that sorted out.
Yeah, well, it was 20 years ago. We'll let you off there. I was like, do I or don't I?
Do. Always do.
There we go, back onto the front straight. It's such a short lap. Lowndes holds the record from that year. Still, the lap record exists 20 years later.
Amazing.
I reckon that was a bit of gamesmanship then from Jared. He sort of half fainted towards the...
He thought about it.
The pits.
That's Jake Burden in the background, heading into the pits.
So he's come in. Brody Myers out ahead of Hopson here. So he's picked up one spot through the pit stop sequence. Let's see. There's a few coming in now, actually. So Ethan Grigalt is in. As the fight for the leaders goes around and into this tight, tricky complex of right-handers, and this will be the fight off pit lane, so this will be interesting here. Let's watch out for Brady Myers, who should be coming onto the front straight now. Here he comes, and he'll be racing that yellow Brad Jones racing car. And I think the BJR car should have the nod if he's had a quick enough pit stop. Here we go. That Fox Sports car is going to be arriving at a fair rate of knots. So Burton's okay, but it's the battle behind them that should be very close. Wow, the early pit stop has worked out a treat here for Brady Myers. He was last, essentially, at the end of the first lap with Ethan Grigalt, and he's picked up a few spots. Good to see someone trying something different tonight. Wait, here we go, it's on.
Started a trend. Oh, a little bit of wall contact there as well.
And the teammates do come in together.
Madison Down gave the wall a little kiss as well.
Yeah, Emily just got it through the last corner too. So it's a race on pit lane between the teammates.
Here we go.
Be cool if you could actually have both cars pit in real life at the same time.
Oh, it'd be less confusing and less stressful.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we obviously have to remind people that are new to iRacing that a team doesn't have to double stack like they do in the real Supercars Championship. You get your own pit bay, and it's an individual pit. There's also no communication between the drivers and a team as such as Walkinshaw and Andretti United here, so they don't know when the other is pitting.
So has there been a change in the pit stops?
I think that looks like maybe Josh has got in front.
Yeah. Wow, so just beat him in a straight-up pit stop race.
I saw a little bit of white smoke coming from there, so maybe Jared just spun his tyres a little bit up, a little bit more than he wanted to, and gave Josh the opportunity to get in front of him.
Oh, Josh is trying to win this championship from the front. Well, that was pretty big. Jonathan, you're watching the action in pit lane, and what happened there between the two Walkinshaw cars swapping spots?
So I feel like because Jared Filsell at pole position, iRacing is going to award him the closest pit bay to the exit. And as you see the way he parked it, it was on an angle, and the way iRacing works is the better you park your car into the box, the quicker you stop. So for Rogers, it was an easier stop into his box to take 4 tyres. For Filsell, a lot more difficult, and that cost him about 1.2 seconds in his stop.
Wow.
Interesting.
And that's translated onto the track, hasn't it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So well picked, Jonathan. And that explains exactly how that's happened. So just, it's classic, isn't it? Everything going his way at the moment. Here comes Dane Warren now out of the pits.
It's going to be pretty close to the Red Bull car. Is he going to get in front of Madison Down?
It'll be really tight between him and the Shannons car. Oh, gets him covered.
Got him.
Cold tyres, though, so there'll be a second here where he's vulnerable. If Madison wants it, he needs to go now. Not quite close enough at turn 3. And I think Dane Warren's just going to hang on to this.
That's also allowed Jake Sissons to catch up. Sorry, wrong Jake.
Jake Burton.
Jake Burton from Dunlop Racing allowed him to catch up to the back of this battle, the back of Madison down there. Madison down there.
Yes, Madison down there in 5th place.
Yes.
See what you're saying?
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. This is excellent as we go through the old Momo corner. That's turn 9. And then the old flip-flop, the right and left-hander, 10 to 11. Hard under brake to turn 12. And then back onto the front straight. So late pit stops today. Usually the pit stop sequences happen much, much earlier. Everyone clearly thinking that it was going to go long, and no one blinking from that front pack as the Hampstead car has been in. The only Ford in the field with the next level signage on it. Plenty more memories. Briony streaking in at the moment. People saying how good the truck racing used to be there back in the day.
Oh, yes. Forgotten about that.
Super trucks, they were seriously cool back then. And lots of cool memories floating in. Someone saying, what game is this? Well, this is iRacing, and it's very, very cool. We have seen the step up last year. We had Forza Motorsport. That was a great series. Also, I've got Matt Collins watching right now as well. He was one of the competitors last year, so a big shout out to Matt. But stepped it up this year to iRacing. We've had buy-in from Supercars teams. And when you've got guys like Walkinshaw, Andretti United, Red Bull, Brad Jones Racing, and of course GRM out there, really does add a huge level of credibility. What has been the attraction here, Ryan, to come and get involved with this series?
I think for me personally, I've been a gamer pretty much all my life, and I've always been supporting esports. We actually looked at setting up an esports team, not necessarily racing based, a while ago. So when the opportunity came up, and I saw some of the racing from last season, we made a commitment that we were going to go and do it, and we found the sponsorship to go and support it. Fortunately, Mobile One, really stepped up and helped us get into it, and it's been a really, really good program for us. Taking it seriously and going out there and trying to leverage that with your sponsor group is something that we've found a lot of value in. I don't know if some of the other supercar teams have found that as well, but it's not necessarily something you sell directly, but it's been something that we've been able to talk to our sponsors about and add to complement their package, which has been really well received, especially particularly because a lot of brands now are trying to hit that youth market harder and harder. And, everyone knows that esports is probably the fastest growing sport for the youth market.
Well, I don't know if everyone does, but obviously you do because you're very forward thinking. But and I think that's why you've been so integral in getting this E-Series up and running here in Australia. But you've been overseas. You've witnessed how massive it can be overseas in terms of gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. I watch a lot of esports on things like Twitch, for example, and I've been to a couple of large esports events, and the sport's definitely growing, and it's becoming a serious contender for a lot of sporting championships out there.
All right, we just saw Madison down duck into pit lane. I wonder if Jonathan might be able to shed some more light on what happened there.
I'm still trying to figure it out right now. So
it didn't look like a drive-through, which is unusual.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to look at right now. Whether or not he sped into the pits in his normal stop, I'll have a look at and get back to you.
Okay, so Madison down will drop to the bottom of the order, and this will put him on pole for race 2 tonight, driving for the Shannons team. But that is huge for the championship because he's fighting for those positions 2nd through to 5th. That could be enough to even drop him down as low as 5th. Here he comes now. And remember, he had an amazing start to this championship, winning races 1 and 3. So this would be pretty big if it costs him some points tonight. Just to highlight exactly the effect there, he was, 4th at the time, fighting with Dane Warren. So he would have been picking up 32 points. Instead, he'll be taking 2 out of this race.
Oh,
so it's a 30-point
costly.
loss.
Yeah.
And that is enough to drop him below Jake Burton at the moment.
On board now with Ethan Griggold, who is chasing down Josh Muggleton, who's had a pretty, I think you'd say, a pretty disappointing run in this year's Gfinity Supercars E-Series. Things haven't quite gone his way. Josh has always seemed to get involved in an accident. A lot of them through absolutely no
Yeah.
fault of his own, I should say.
He has been unlucky, you know, because he's a talented driver. He's a good sim racer. He's known for it as well. You know, he's done some decent professional driving as well in his time. So, you know, I think we're all expecting him to be a serious contender for the title in this series this year. But as you say, in some cases, you know, a lot of cases, through no fault of his own, he's had some pretty unfortunate luck. But you know, that's part of racing, right?
Just going to check in with Jonathan in 1 second. But Briony, do you remember last week we asked for red wheels?
We did. Ask and we shall receive.
Just noticed that. That was very, very subtle from the team at Knight Rider. So well done, guys. Thank you for that. They are on it this year, Josh Muggleton and the crew there. Let's check in with Jonathan right now. Have we got to the bottom of the Madison Down issue?
So I had a look at his original pit stop, and I don't know if he sped by the slightest of margins, but it was very close. And if it is a penalty, it was by at least 2 kilometers an hour. But I know sometimes if you speed on entry, you can serve your penalty in the current pit stop. You don't have to come and drive through again. So the fact that he's come in a second time said to me that it had to have been on the exit. And if it is, it's by the slightest of margins.
Wow. So it's interesting that they do stop-go penalties, which is very old school as opposed to a drive-through. This fight is still going on. Ethan Grigg-Gault, this has been a really good recovery. Remember, he was off at turn 2 in the opening lap. So he's got great car speed, and he is hounding the back of Josh Muggleton. This is for 7th. This will be one of Josh's best results of the season. His 3rd best, to be exact. Just the one top 5. What's been a very tough year. Just looking at car speed. And at the moment, definitely Ethan Grigg-Gault, one of the fastest on the track. But just now, starting to lose a bit of time tucked up behind the Knight Rider entry. Last lap of the race, first of the night, and this is race 14 of the championship. We finished tonight with race 16 at Bathurst. Remember, we got Ryan Walkinshaw on the desk, and we'll be taking your questions live on Facebook between Phillip Island and Bathurst tonight.
Oh, that is dangerous.
Looking forward to that one.
We don't have a 7-second delay, Ryan. Just remember that.
Travis Edwards online. I miss Oran Park so much. Had some of the best battles there. Best thing is, thanks to iRacing, we're able to race there again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Great to see.
It is a great track, isn't it? Really got a sense of the appreciation for what it was like. You know, I've not seen any racing there for such a long time. You kind of forget about it.
Well, here we go. This is the moment. Josh Rogers is not just a race winner as he just about kisses that wall. He is also the champion now for season 2019. Well done, Josh Rogers. And what a way to do it. Putting the thing first place. And behind them, they will race to the checkered flag. Nice battle between Muggleton and Ethan Grigg-Gault. Brady Myers will get home for 9th, so good recovery drive there from Ethan off the back of the field. Madison Down, disappointment for him. He'll drop to 5th in the championship. That pushes Burton up a spot. The top 4 is exactly how they sit in the championship. But how about that for Josh Rogers? We can congratulate the team owner right now. You have won the E-Series as a team owner. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. We set out wanting to go and compete and to go and win this championship this season. You know, we did take it seriously. Went out and got, in our opinion, the 2 best drivers in the country. And yeah, I'm super proud for Josh. He's been an absolute hero this season. He's been the standout. Closely followed by Jared as well. He's really fought him hard right until the end as well. So proud of both my drivers. But huge congratulations to Josh. He's just been fantastic.
I hope we're going to get some good end of the night burnouts from him. It might be a little bit too early to dig into the burnouts in race 14, but he's going to have a little bit of fun still. His car control is ridiculous. That is not easy to do in iRacing.
No, it's not. I was doing that by accident with him earlier, so I actually want to see them.
Here we go. We are going to get some skids out of him.
Awesome.
All right. Doesn't mind a celebration, this guy, and I think he knows that he is now officially the champion. And this is how you celebrate in style. Did you catch it at Laguna Seca when he was offering up burnout by request?
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah.
I actually put that on my Instagram. I did. That was very, very cool.
He is a star of this sport, and he cannot be touched at the moment. Already looking forward to what he can do off the back of the grid at Phillip Island. This is how it all played out. Race 14 of the championship, Oran Park the location. So cool to see racing back here once again. That famous front straight. And it was a Walkinshaw 1-2 at the start and the finish, but the numbers have swapped around. That's what happened. It was hard to see where that started. I saw Hampstead was sideways in the background. They all just sort of followed each other off the road.
There was any contact.
Yeah, that was a hard one to pick. Down into the first couple of corners, it was Phil Sell who led the way, but Briony Josh never gave up.
No, he didn't, and that's what we've come to expect from him all season long. Just a really strong, standout competitor, and The pits was where he won the race. Would have been interesting to see if Phil still had to come out in front, whether Josh could have passed him. But here we go. Here's the replay of Josh just getting a better stop, getting out in front of Jared and Madison Town, knocking on the door there until that incident that put him to the bottom of the field.
And then the rejoin further back in the pack. This was really close between Red Bull's Dane Warren and just about making contact there with Madison Down. And at the front, after taking the lead through the pit stops and adding another race win to the record books, he is absolutely on it at the moment. His 12th top 5, his 7th podium of the year. Actually make that number 8 now, I reckon, and that will be race win number 8. So doing a very, very good job in this championship, and now officially the champion as well. So congratulations to Josh Rogers. I think we might be able to have a chat with him now as well. So congratulations, mate. You are the champion. How does that feel?
Thank you. Obviously, it's really special to be able to win the inaugural series on iRacing. But yeah, all in all, throughout the season, I've been really, really pleased with not only how I've driven, but also how Jared and I have worked together to try and make the car as good as it could be. A little bit unfortunate there for Jared in the pits. Ultimately, I think that was probably just what decided the race. Oran Park's a really tricky track to pass, and I don't think I would have had the opportunity otherwise, so it was unfortunate of him. But still P2, still ahead of Dane in the championship, so I think we'll just be looking to lock out that 1-2 for the team now. You've
got the team boss on the desk tonight. Ryan, that was very impressive, another 1-2.
Yeah, no, super happy. I mean, we've had a few of these 1-2s this season, so you know, as Josh said, I feel a little bit bad for Jared there. I think he'll be feeling a little bit down on himself for what happened in the pits, but you know, at the end of the day, both of them fought hard, they fought clean, and you know, we've now the championship winning team for this season, and you know, we've still got Jared in second place, who's still got a lot to show for the last two races this evening. So super happy, but still can't wait to watch a little bit more.
Hey Josh, the big news here is you pick up the 10K payday as well as a chance to come to the Supercars Gala to win the trophy. So you're going to have to get the suit out, mate.
Yeah, it might be a little bit dusty. Might have to brush that up or get another one. But yeah, no, honestly, looking forward to that. I think it's something that, I mean, I haven't been to a gala other than the AKC one a few years back. And then obviously the following week as well, the Porsche Night of Champions as well, so a few weeks ahead, but still got another couple of races to go tonight, and still trying to do as good as I can.
Josh, I'm sure that Ryan will lead the way. I mean, lead you astray.
I've had some practice.
You have had a lot of practice at galas.
I'm really good at leading people astray.
So watch out for the team boss, mate, on Monday night after Newcastle. It's going to be really exciting. Enjoy the last 2 races, mate. Well done.
Good job, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
He's got the tick of approval from the boss and a chance to party with him on Monday night as well. That's really, really cool. And when you consider the rest of the year, Ryan, he's had an amazing run. So like we mentioned earlier, Porsche Super Cup champion, that picked up a 50K payday, I think it was, for that one, which is a huge, huge win. Plus all the iRacing wins on 24 Hours of Daytona, Le Mans, Nürburgring, Spa, and the VRS GT iRacing World Champion. He's one of the best in the world, without a shadow of doubt.
Yeah, I don't think there's many people who are going to try and dispute that. You know, he's not only done an absolutely stellar job and been, you know, near perfection this entire series in the Supercar E-Series, but you know, his pedigree going back to everything else he's been doing this season. I mean, he's got to be one of, if not the best, you know, e-racing drivers in the world at the moment, and it's impressive, especially being so young. You know, I can only imagine what he's going to be able to succeed in doing in the future.
How cool. All right, let's turn our attention now to our first Shannons Classic moment for tonight. We're going to delve a bit further back into the battle pack, and I'm not sure if it's because they rolled out the red wheels tonight, or maybe it's because Josh Muggleton is just so deserving, but this was a good little battle, this one, between Josh Muggleton driving the Knight Rider Motorsports car and at a cool old venue like Oran Park. This may even catch some votes tonight. And
I think this is probably almost fair to say Josh Muggleton's highlight of the series so far, in terms of strong performance, having a good old ding-dong battle and keeping out, staying out in front and keeping that position after we mentioned all the terrible luck that he's had and misfortune.
Yep.
Good to see that he can finally show what he's capable of.
Well done. So pushed all the way by a former race winner. Is that your favourite moment of the night? Head on to the E-Series website after all 3 moments have been captured and you can cast your vote. That's the first Shannons Classic moment tonight. So 1 down, 2 to go. This is how they finished up. It's another win for Josh Rogers, continuing his incredible run of form so far. Like we mentioned, that is now 9 podiums, 8 race wins. 8 out of 14. Very, very impressive indeed. And looking forward to seeing how he goes off the back of the grid for the next one. Further down the field, and that's another good run of performances from Ian Ford and Richard Hamstead. Second, third and fourth in the race though, Briony. Second, third and fourth now in the championship as it stands.
Yeah, Ian Ford was a little bit under the radar in that one. We didn't see a lot of him, but a fifth place finish, I think it was there. Yeah, good result for him.
All right, good effort. All right, we need another quick break here on the E-Series tonight. It's the final round. We're going to crown a champion and check out 2 more big races. Phillip Island's coming up, and then Bathurst to round things off.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 1346 46 or go online today.
Shannons are giving you the chance to win this amazing Indian FTR 1200S. Plus, it's also a trip to London to be won to the Goodwood Revival, a true celebration of motorsport. To enter, just go to shannons.com.au and request a quote.
My real-life motorsport started in sim racing. That's where I got my jump through Nissan GT Academy. I've done it sort of back to front to a lot of the real-life guys these days who are using the sim for training, whereas I use it the other way around and use that to get my leg in the real world. I love motorsport. I love watching the battles, and you can read certain drivers and what they're thinking and how they're going to attack a certain situation. The whole strategy and trying to control something that's out of control is really appeals to me. I think my dad and my uncle are responsible for getting me into motorsport. We attended V8 Supercar races, or Australian Touring Car Championship as it was in the day, ever since I was a little boy. Very lucky to have a loving, beautiful wife who's very supportive, my wife Jess, and we've just had a daughter, Olivia. When I walk through the door or after a race in the sim and see their smiling faces, that just makes it all worthwhile. My role model would probably be Scott McLaughlin. I've been lucky enough to meet Scott before through iRacing. Been for a hot lap with him as well, back in his development series days, so that was cool. He's sort of like the modern day Peter Brock. He goes about his job in a professional way, but he's always got plenty of time for the fans and the kids and all that. Big respect for him. I've been racing against a lot of these guys for a lot of years now. I've been sim racing teammates with a lot of them. I still am with a few of them. Emily, Richard, Madison. We're teammates at TTR, Trans-Tasman Racing. I'll be looking out for them and supporting them quietly, but there'll be no holds barred. I'm here to beat them.
Had a really, really unlucky year, but he's so fast and his sim racing experience cannot be argued with, and also that experience in real life as well. Was Josh Muggleton one of the guys that maybe you were looking at when you had the opportunity to hand pick your drivers this year, because he's got a lot of experience?
Yeah, we did actually look at a couple of people, and I've been Facebook friends with Josh for a long time as well. His dad I used to know his dad quite well through rugby union. And
it's a weird crossover, isn't it?
It's a really weird crossover, isn't it? But he's been an impressive sim racer for a long time. He's clearly did a lot of stuff over his career as well. So we did look at Josh as well as a couple of other drivers who are racing this evening.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not been his year, but definitely a talented guy. Let's check out now a hot lap of our next venue, and what a famous place this is. It's long been a part of the Supercars Championship and a 2-race feature in our calendar this year. It's also very well known for its 2-wheel occupation as well for World Superbikes and MotoGP. But we love watching supercars go around here in real life or virtual. Briony?
Yeah, we sure do.
Always a lot of fun, this place.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was the place where Madison Down got a win last time around.
Yeah, race 1 in the championship.
Yeah, it was the first race. So he'll be looking to repeat that tonight, because he's struggled a little bit in form for, since then, I think.
I'm sort of curious as to how, if tonight's race will play out similar. Now, the two big differences here are, one, it's reverse grid, and two, that was actually here, Ryan, using the sims and the Logitech equipment, where now they're back home and they're on their own gear, and so it's going to be something that's, hugely different for them.
Sure, and it was interesting speaking to some of the drivers after that. They're so used to using their own hardware at home, and Logitech have got some great hardware that we've seen them racing on during that event. But you always do a little bit better with what you're used to, and even things like just having the muscle memory on what you're doing with your feet and your hands when you're in your simulator. So as you said, I think it'll be a slightly different result on what we'll see from the previous time we're here. I'm interested to see what happens with, as you said, the track temp. If it's going to be a hot day, and we're going to be able to see some of that undercutting action coming into play, and a bit of strategy, so that'd be pretty exciting.
Well, it's a famously high degradation track, and that was a pretty clean lap from Jake Burton, beautifully driven in the Dunlop car. So they'll be lining up like this. Madison Down, well, he won here last time out. He's in the perfect spot to continue that. It was Josh Rogers who finished second and Dane Warren third last time, and they've got a lot of work to do off the back of the grid. So Madison Down has to come in as clear favourite for this one.
Absolutely, but also looking forward to seeing what Brenton Hopson can do off of the front row and show his potential in the second to last race of the season. Emily Jones off of row 3. Brady Myers, he was quick in the first race. Can he translate that here to Phillip Island? He'll start off with the second row. And as you mentioned, the big guns down the back.
Yeah.
Red Bull Holden Racing Team, Walkinshaw, Andretti United, and obviously Brad Jones Racing as well. Can they carve their way through the field?
The food? Maybe. It'll be a party if they can. Now, it's a tough track to pass, so they've got to get it done early. So watch for Rogers, Philsell, Warren and Burton to really go hard in the opening lap. There is always that chance of an early pit stop, but if there is deg late in the race, it'll be tough to get home on a lap 2 or 3 pit stop. So quite a few ways to spin this one out, but wouldn't be surprised if we do see early stops off the back of this one. So not long now until we go racing for race 15. Can Madison Down pick up the race win like he did in race number 1? He's been able to win 2 races in this championship, all of them on that opening night. Since then, it's just Josh Rogers who has been the man. All right, let's do this. We're gridded up on the famous Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. And we are off and running. Both of our tracks to start the night have both hosted the World Superbike Championship. And it's just about the only thing that they have in common, apart from a ton of Australian Touring Car Championship races as well. So Madison Down leads us through the first corner. Brady Myers high and dry around the outside of Emily Jones. Muggleton slots in behind Hampstead, and it's There that we go right now. Hampstead runs wide. Muggleton to the inside. Those Dayglow orange wheels. I love that look on that car this year. And we go running through Southern Loop top towards Stoner Corner. Jake Burton's dropped to the back of the pack. Emily Jones trying to hang to the outside of Ethan Griggle. Ethan to be a chance at a podium here. Ian Ford runs wide down at the hairpin. There's a bit going on, but they're keeping it clean as we go up towards Siberia, and that is now finally a chance for this race to settle down. Or as soon as I say that, there's contact between Jones and Ethan Griggle. They were side by side for a few corners. So maybe this is not over yet. We'll go side by side through the hay shed. That's a tough spot to make it stick. Muggleton on the outside, and he's off the road. It'll be tough to try and get that thing stopped without making contact, and he's sideways as they climb Lukey Heights. Cracking opening lap to this one. Look at them fan out nearly 3 wide, diving down into MG. Just waiting for this to settle down and take a breath, but we're going to go the entire lap just about with battles going on. There's another rub. Ryan, this is an awesome first lap.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? A lot of bit of contact. I think Madison Down had a really good start, and I think he's probably going to tear away with this now. You know, he was really strong at the last track last race we just watched, and you know, he's clearly got his foot to the floor on this one, and he's probably going to get a pretty nice gap. I think it's going to be really interesting seeing what happens in this mid pack. You got some really fast cars back here. We're going to be trying to take advantage of these first few laps while everyone's bunched together to get some track position, and as you said, pit stops coming pretty soon.
All fast. They're all big names in that pack. Here we go.
Absolutely.
Hopson and Myers. There's a few drivers here that would dearly love their first podium. Hopson hasn't had a top 5 in this championship yet, so this is a key chance for him to get a really hard-earned race result. He was dispatched off the track on lap 1 during the Oran Park reverse grid race. And this will be tight between he and Myers. It'd be great to see Hopson pull a good result here in the second last race of the championship. Inside down there at Siberia. So finally this race is taking something of a pause, although as soon as I say that, he's got the overlap going up towards the hay shed, and he falls back in behind him. So Jonathan, will we see early pit stops in this one?
Has to be this lap if you're going to do it, especially for Burton. I remember him talking to me in round 1 at this circuit that he'd opt for it if he was starting near the back of the pack. And don't let Madison Down's reverse pole deceive you. He told me he's a Phillip Island specialist, and he's showing it at the moment. Yeah, right, absolutely. We go side by side now, running back onto the front straight. Pit entrance is on the left if anyone's brave enough. You want to be back in the pack if you're going to try that. Jonathan's guess was Jake Burton. Brad Jones Racing entry, if anyone at all, and they go whizzing pie onto the front straight for the end of lap number 2. So no early pit stops. Actually, we've got Josh Rogers in.
Yeah. Is he in, or is he just dropped to the bottom?
Yeah, he's definitely in pit lane, so the champ is in early. As we go riding through turn 1, pit stops happening.
It's Josh Muggleton.
So the Joshes are in.
Ahead. Josh squared.
Yep, waiting for that car to be dropped. We're going to see a change in position here. Got a chuckle out of Ryan, that one. Nicely done. Past the race control and commentary box on the left-hand side. No commentary box in the world has a better viewing platform than Phillip Island. It is awesome. How about this now at the hairpin, turn 4. And the Roar is going to get pushed out here. Oh, there was a bit on there, Brady Myers and Richard Hampstead. Reverse grid racing, this is why we love it.
Emily Jones is right in there behind the Roar car as well. She's got a good opportunity here.
She's actually showing a lot of speed through Hayshed.
She's been doing that all season, to be fair. She's really stepped up her game from her first event, where I think she lacked a little bit of confidence. But throughout the season, she's really progressed. She's been one of the people you've really seen grow throughout the competition. Yeah,
that podium at Oran Park was hard earned. Getting some good results so far this year. We're right on board with Emily right now in the Workplace Law Racing entry.
She'd probably have to win the award for biggest fan club.
Between her and Brenton Hopson. Hopson has a huge following on YouTube.
Yeah, that's true.
Emily had that massive following here for round 1.
Our first live audience, for the Workplace Law family. We say hello to all of them who I know are watching on tonight, and they're really excited to have Emily representing them in their debut into E-Series racing.
Oh, this is tight.
They're making a big move here.
She's got that done as well. Unless there's a bit of overlap here for Hampstead to work with at the loop. He can't quite get in there. Locking the rears off the racing line and potentially losing 2 spots here.
Yeah, it's not gone well for him so far.
Burton's got the run on him. You know who this is helping? Josh Rogers. This battle right now massively helping Josh Rogers. He needs these guys to brawl. Got the rears locked again. Maybe even got a bit of a shot in the right rear that time as he gets that car turned. He's got Ian Ford behind him. I wouldn't be surprised here if Josh Rogers pops out in front of everyone on screen. He's got the speed to do it. I'm looking forward to seeing what his next lap time is next time by. It'd be hard to know what that last one was with pit stops. But I get the feeling this next one could be a 1 minute 31, and he'll be right back into contention today. I think a pit stop on this lap would be very wise if you're in this battle pack, because you are losing a lot of time the way they're fighting. It's not so much the undercut as much as getting out of where the brawls are happening. And Burton does come in, he answers the call, so does Hopson. And that's smart, so this will give them their best chance at fighting off Josh Rogers here. Now Rogers is coming down the hill into MG. Here he comes. And this is a pretty feisty battle pack as well. Brady Myers, Josh Muggleton and Jared Filsell. So Filsell's got some work to do. Again, Rogers just using the pit stops to overlap cars. I reckon he's going to go absolutely breezing by these guys in the lane.
Got a good lap there.
Oh.
Got them, surely. There he goes, past Hopson. And the Raw car is on the way out. This will be a scary rejoin down at turn 1.
Where is the best place to rejoin? There. Do you stay out on the left?
Yeah, you're almost committed to. Sometimes what you're meant to do if you're coming out and building speed is get straight over to the right-hand side so you're not sitting on the racing line down at turn 1.
Sure.
But in that sort of scenario, it's really hard to just dart across the track when the field's coming by. It's a little bit like the exit at Darwin where you have to get across to the inside of the circuit.
Not much time to judge it either. You've got a car hurtling it in almost 300 Ks down the front straight.
You want to get that right. Remember Alex Rullo and Garth Tandy nearly got themselves in a bind at Hidden Valley doing the exact same thing as we go on board with the ever-aggressive Jared Filsell. He's just letting Josh Muggleton know that he is in a bit of a rush tonight. It's been a good race so far, and Josh with a huge undercut tonight.
The undercut's working because of the hot track temp, Chad. So about 42 degrees compared to usuals. I think I'm seeing Filsell dive up the inside, isn't he, of Muggleton? But that's the problem for Filsell. He didn't opt for the early pit stop, and look at all the traffic he's in.
Now, how much pain will Rogers be in later in the race, do you think?
Rogers is probably, I might be wrong with this, but at least he's one of the smoothest on his tyres on this grid. So, I mean, just a nail in the heart, isn't it, for the rest of this bunch, is that he's got the oldest tyres and he's probably going to manage them better.
Well, we'll find out as Filsell is side by side here with Muggleton. We go on board. Oh, and there's a rejoin for Emily Jones too, coming out of the lane at a really awkward time.
Yeah.
That was tight. Really, really tight. Well managed, though.
She's going to have to hold her position strong here. She's going to get bullied by some of the guys behind her while she's got some cold tyres.
How's the battle pack? She's just been dropped in behind enemy lines. So behind Filsell.
I think we might see Burton make a move here. There he goes.
Up to the inside, side by side through Stoner Bend. Here comes Filsell now. So plenty of scraps to watch out for. He goes through on Muggleton. Watch out for Burton. He's the man flying. Hopson also in the background. So unfortunately, it's not worked out here for Hopson, who's falling down the pack. And Dane Warren. So I'm not sure if Dane had a long pit stop or what's happened there. He just hasn't been able to get track position, but he's at the back of this pack. And that's really unusual for him.
Yeah, he came out of the pit quite far behind the Dunlop car, which was quite surprising. So I wonder if there was something that happened there, if he had a little bit of additional time in the pits for something, because yeah, he seems to have lost a few seconds there when he came out.
All right, Madison down in the lane, which means Richard Hampstead is the last car to pit. So Hampstead now the race leader, and the fight will be on between Down and everyone that you're looking at right now. He's going to come out somewhere at the head of this pack. Look at that. Wow, he's timed that really well. Well, he had a giant lead before the pit stop sequence, so that'll be why. And that's how big that lead was.
4 laps, do you think Josh Rogers can hunt him down, though?
Well, he's got very old tyres, so that's going to be extremely difficult.
He seems to just be able to manage on whatever is underneath him, though, to eke out those gaps.
He was first to pit with Josh Muggleton. Muggleton's going to back the field up a little bit here, which is going to give Rogers a little bit of breathing room. So Rogers then locking the tyre, the right front down at Honda hairpin. So after Hampstead pits, if he comes out where we expect him to be in that pack, which we're currently looking at, that'll put Rogers second on the road from last.
How does he manage to do that? We've seen it time after time in the reverse grid races, haven't we?
Just magic. Pure magic.
Just he's a wizard.
Magic. Just waves the wand and out he comes. Here we go. Jones side by side here with Muggleton. This is going to end in tears. I've got a bad feeling about this. They are teammates in the TTR team, and Jones gets shoved wide. Dane Warren gets them both. That's a really smooth move from Dane Warren. 2 for 1. Jones fighting back. Gee, Muggleton's tyres are gone already.
Yeah.
He's struggling. So that could be a little precursor as to what's coming for Josh Rogers here. Let's have a look at that gap. Rogers to the rest of the field as Hampstead pits. Now we know the true order. It's down Rogers, Greg Gould. It's the Knight Rider and the Raw team scrap down the front straight.
Looks like Rogers actually has lost about a half a second on Madison down, the leader Madison down in that last lap. So you could be right. Maybe he has seen the best of his tyres and won't be able to make up that gap, which...
I think the person to watch is actually Ethan Greg Gould. So he's sitting third, and I reckon he's got the tyres to catch Josh Rogers. Last time by, he was 0.3 quicker. Maybe that's just Josh looking after the rubber for now. Oh, that was a late move from Muggleton, and around he goes. There was contact. It did look like a pretty late move. He moved to try and cover the inside, and that's very sporting from Ian Ford, who hands the spot back to him. So taking it into his hands to redress that situation.
That was very sporting.
Yeah.
I'd have just pressed on.
He would have had a pretty good argument, because it did look like Josh maybe moved over slightly under brakes. And usually it's fair game at that point. So what happened down there at turn 4? Let's have a look. Maybe he was turning that way because he was getting pushed. Hard to tell. That's a classic Phillip Island manoeuvre, that one. It's one of the biggest stops on the course. Looks like a pretty nice day down at the island. Here is his teammate trying to chase down the champion to be. That gap, 1.1 seconds last time by. They were just about bang on same lap times, 1:31.2 to a 1:31.2. The race leader half a second quicker than them and extending that gap at the front. So it's perfect at the moment for Madison down.
This is going to be a good scrap, guys. We've got Jake Burton in the Dunlop Racing number 8. Chasing Brady Myers. This is for position 6. And then Dane Warren wants to get involved.
Yeah, I was going to
well.
say, I think Dane Warren's the one who's going to try and take some advantage of this. He's going to try and sneak through behind the Dunlop car.
Well, Dane's trying to keep his championship hope alive. Oh,
there we go.
Contact.
That was messy.
And they're going to be in the fence here. Around goes the Dunlop car. And they are 3rd and 4th in the championship. So that's big.
That's going to spice things up.
Wow.
Man.
Hard to see what happened there. It'd be good to see a replay because I couldn't actually see what...
That is a really rare one between Honda and Siberia. You rarely see cars trip over each other there.
Yeah, and you know, Burton and Warren have both been pretty strong so far this race, and both normally pretty good at keeping their noses clean, so it's quite surprising.
So Brady Myers was the man on the outside, and I think maybe Warren got into the rear of the Dunlop car, which...
A little bit of nose in the bum.
Yeah, turned him straight into... Is that a rugby term?
Yeah, I don't want to know what kind of a term that one
is. You can infer whatever you want from that.
What it meant was Jake Burton was off the road, and that'll drop him down to 5th in the championship. I just wonder if they got...
It looks like Dane actually tapped the back of, was it
I think Mayers actually tapped him on the side a little bit.
Yeah.
Got him loose,
and then Warren came up behind him.
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether our
good move there, though.
Our adjudicator, DSO Craig Dontis, deems that as a racing incident.
Yeah.
There was some intent and a penalty will be handed down.
I was actually going to say, where's Craig Baird coming down and
we have a different
laying down the hammer?
Yeah.
We have a different Craig.
We have virtual Craig for this championship.
Virtual Craig.
Turn 4, and here comes the Raw trying to get that spot back. Dane Warren was very quick here for the opening round of the championship. At the moment, can't seem to fight back right now. It's a long way down. He's going to try and pick up as many spots as possible. This is for 7th. So outside of this, looks like Richard Hampstead's on for a pretty good result. 4th for him. He picked up back-to-back podiums in races 2 and 3, and that's been the best of his championship since. So this would be a great result for him.
Hampstead's been almost a quiet achiever of this race. He's kept his nose clean. He's he's been keeping up with the pace from Greek Gold, and
he really has, hasn't he?
And been pulling away from Philsell as well. So I think he's done a really good job this race.
It's almost a mirror of the earlier race where Ian Ford finished 4th. We didn't see a lot of him in the race.
Yeah.
He figured a really good result. Same with Richard. We haven't seen a lot of him, but obviously the strategy that he has chosen has played out well for him. That was
bit bold. Willing. Down at turn 1. I love it when they just let free like that and just decide to try and throw some moves late in the race. He knows there's money up for grabs, and he's trying to scrounge for every spot that he can. And this is all worth valuable points as he tries to hang on to 3rd and even put the pressure back on for 2nd in the points. And that was a bold move. So was stuck in the toe down the front straight and then absolutely sent it down at turn 1. Here it is. Absolutely nothing wrong with that move. That was a long way in, and he stayed to his racing line. Just 2 cars scrapping over the same bit of turf. Good battle. So with down first, it's going to keep some of these championship battles alive here. Jared Philsell 5th will just about have done enough to wrap up 2nd. But we'll turn our attention first to Madison Down, driving for the Shannons team. He came in as one of the pre-season favourites, picked up race wins on the opening night, and he will double up at the island. He's got the rub of the green at Phillip Island. Well done to Madison Down, picking up his 3rd win of the season and his 8th podium of the year. Great drive once again from Ethan Griggold. How about Josh Rogers, though? What a star. 12th to 2nd. It's the best drive we've seen from a reverse grid race all season long. Fantastic result for Ethan Griggold. And as we mentioned, Richard Hampstead too, finishing in 4th. Jared Philsell could manage a 5th from the rear of the grid. Emily Jones 6th. Dane Warren made his way up to 7th, followed by Brady Myers, Hobson, Ford, Muggleton, and Jake Burton. I just wonder if that's enough to seal it for Philsell. I was wondering if that could be it. There was 36 points between he and Warren coming into that race, and that might have just been enough to extend that out over 50. Be very close. We'll try and update you before we go into the final race what that scenario is. Good to see this guy celebrating once again. That was a pretty commanding drive. Had the pole, so it was the best way to do it. But you know what stands out for me from that race? All those highlights that we saw on drivers banging doors and rubbing. How many of those moments did you see Josh Rogers in?
0.
0. Yep. Because he was in the pits early and just picked his time.
Briony said it earlier, you know, when you got the cars on screen. I actually hate seeing my cars on screen when I'm watching them in real life, because I'm always nervous that that's normally because the cameras are there because there's going to be some action, and far too often you end up at the wrong end of it, either through your own fault or someone else's. So, you know, the kind of race where if the cameras aren't on you the whole time until right at the end when you're crossing the line are normally the best ones. Well, that was good stuff. We won't see too much of him in the highlights reel because he just went under the radar from last to 2nd. And that was pretty much a lights to flag victory for the man at the front of the field in the Shannons entry. So down through turn 1, he got the start he needed. Shame for Hopson. That was a really good chance for him tonight to pick up a good result. He comes home 9th, so comparatively speaking, it's one of his best races. He finished 9th actually in the first race of the championship at Phillip Island as well. Emily Jones put some early moves on as well. But Dane Warren, when he gets angry, he's very quick. Yes, very aggressive and pulled some aggressive moves there. There's Richard Hampstead, who we just mentioned, finishing 4th, the lone Ford in the field. And then there was this, this wasn't an altercation, it was Dane Warren making a pass. Trying to get around the Burton car, so they both pitted at the same time. Just wasn't quite the right strategy to play. The early pit stop was 100% the play. They were losing so much time on track in that battle pack right there that if you could get out and pit early, there was a big advantage. And that was already the moment. Josh is way ahead of him at that point. Oh, that's a hold breath moment, isn't it? Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, it's a really tricky rejoin. That's why the MotoGP bikes actually enter the exit of turn 1
For that very reason, the most controversial moment of the race. Right there, Dane Warren, Jake Burton, also Brady Myers caught up in that one. I'm not actually so sure Dane Warren had much to play in that one. Hard to tell. Either way, he had to make up some spots late in the race, managed to somehow get that thing back to 7th, and has just kept that championship picture alive for 2nd. He's 46 points back. It's 50 available in the last race, so it's not impossible that he can steal 2nd with 1 race to go. Jared Filsell, after a 2nd and really a top 6 finish, probably be maybe 2nd, maybe 3rd on the grid for the last race, combined points. So
wow, it's going to be super interesting.
Yeah, I get the feeling it's going to be advantage Filsell in that one. Let's check in with our race winner. We didn't see too much of you in that one, Madison. That was just the perfect race from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Got away to a good start and just maintained the gap from there. So, yeah, nice to get another win at Phillip Island again.
The championship scenario for you right now, how high do you think you can go?
I think anything higher than 4th's out of the question. I'm pretty much in a fight with the BJR car of Jake Burton. So it's looking really close going into that final race.
Hey, what happened to you at Oran Park?
Yeah, too eager on the pit limiter. Same thing that Josh Rogers did at Nürburgring. So
pit exit.
Yeah, just right behind Jared at pit exit, and when he accelerated, I went as well. But yeah, that was too early, unfortunately. So yeah, threw that one away.
Aha, well, it gave you the perfect opportunity to get another win at Phillip Island, and you've clinched that. So looking forward to the final race now, mate. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, so how is that all going to play out? It's going to be a battle for 2nd now between Jared Filsell and Dane Warren. That's 46 separating those two at the moment. So Warren needs something of a minor miracle to pull off 2nd. So looking good for the 1-2 in the championship at the moment. And very much looking forward to that fight between 4th and 5th as well. Okay, let's check out our next Shannon's classic moment of the night. So there was quite a bit to watch out for in that race, and there was one guy who was carving through the field, Briony, picking up many, many spots. Let's check out what our next Shannon's classic moment is. And Dane Warren, he was one fired-up driver.
Yeah, he sure was, and he made the most of this opportunity, making the move past Josh Muggleton and Emily Jones while they were scrapping over a position, and ended up 7th in that race from the back of the field. And yeah, he was in all sorts, wasn't he? He was in quite a few, which could be probably nominated for Shannon's classic moments, but that's the one that we've chosen. So if you think that that's your favourite move of the night, remember after we go off air, you can go to eseries.supercars.com and vote for your Shannon's classic moment.
Well done. Thank you, Briony. That's the 2nd one of the night. So here is the washout from the penultimate race of the championship. That's a fairly large buffer, 5.2 seconds in an 11-lap race. Absolutely smashed the field, but Rogers last to 2nd. He's a really clever strategist from the race seat. We saw him at Bathurst. He got the race win there because he just knew the right time to pit. He's gone from last to 2nd again because he knew the right time to pit.
Yeah, exactly. And especially seeing as before the race, we were talking about, the risk of going too early on this track and the impact that it can have at the end as your tyres go off and people being able to catch up on you. And, he took the gamble and it did pay off. So, it was impressive strategy, and he just had a really clean race as well, because he said you didn't see him.
Yeah, just went completely under the radar, so well done to him. All right, we need one last break before we go running once again for the final race. Going to be talking supercars on the other side of this, posing some questions live to Ryan Walkinshaw in the studio. So I imagine 1 or 2 things could be dominating the conversation there. Stick around.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 13 46 46 or go online today.
That is a really good start from Josh Rogers on the outside. Oh, he gets a massive push, but goes for the lead anyway. Just 1-2 for Walkinshaw Andretti United at the mountain. The two Walkinshaw guys are out of there, and Phil might just wrestle the lead. They'll go side by side down the hill. Well done to Josh Rogers, and back-to-back 1-2s. It's a serious resume, and it's growing here as he extends his championship lead. And there goes Rogers blazing by once again. He's going to pick up another race win here. Josh Rogers gets one in the bank. He is something else, this 19-year-old. He is a real star, and he'll celebrate all the way to the checkered flag. And Josh Rogers is putting his foot down on this championship. He'll be heading to the final round with an almost unassailable lead.
What a year it has been for Josh Rogers in this championship. Congratulations. He has wrapped up the title fight, but second, third, fourth, fifth, all still up for grabs. We're queuing them up for the final race of the night. It's Mount Panorama, so you do not want to miss that. But what perfect opportunity with Ryan live in the studio to shoot us some questions. So wherever you're watching right now, whether it be on Fox Sports 506, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, get onto the Facebook live stream, because that's where I'm going to be throwing the questions over to Ryan. But first, let's take this opportunity to talk about what an amazing run it's been for Walkinshaw Andretti United, particularly in this championship. Your drivers, Josh and Jared, and they are on the money.
Yeah, no, it's been impressive what they've done. I mean, I'm just so proud of the two guys because they've just been so professional to work with. We actually had them at the Gold Coast, the Gold Coast Supercar round as well. It was Jared's birthday. So it was great to actually meet them and spend some time with them and try and include them as a team. We went into this saying that, you know, we want the esports drivers that we ended up bringing on board to be, you know, and feel like they were part of the team and be invited to the events and you know, be part of the whole culture of our team. So. You know, it was great for everyone else to meet them in that instance, and I know that all the guys in our team and on the workshop and so on have been watching the Esports series pretty closely. So I think it was quite cool for them to meet the drivers and have a chat about it all.
That round at Bathurst in particular was with the synchronised burnouts and the 1-2 finish. That was probably the peak moment for you this year, is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was right before the real Bathurst race in Supercars as well, so it was pretty cool. And you know, I think there's a few superstitious people in our fan base who were hoping that was going to translate into the real thing. But yeah, such a great moment for those guys. Our first 1-2, I believe, and a pretty cool moment some pretty cool pictures out of that as well.
Where were you watching that from? Were you in Australia at that time?
Yeah, I was. I've been here since beginning of September, so I was watching it on my sofa in my slippers and dressing gown. Actually.
So where's home for you these days? Because obviously from the UK, but you spend so much time here. Where do you? I guess you're just an international man of mystery.
International man of mystery. That's a nice way of putting it. To be honest, my home's probably an Airbus A380. I do about 80 flights a year, 80 to 100 flights a year, which at least 50% of those are long haul. I actually live with my girlfriend in Monaco, but still spend a lot of time with my younger brother, and he still lives in Oxford. My mum lives in Monaco as well, but we spend about just under 6 months of the year over here in Australia for work. So it's normally about 1 month on, 1 month off.
And your cat lives in London?
My cat lives in Oxford, and it's really disappointing. Unfortunately, my flat in Monaco is really small, and he's a big cat, as you know. You've seen him. So Snoop has to. He stays at home on the farm, going and hunting young human children and stuff like that. Dropping them on the doorstep.
I'm disappointed we couldn't have got a race at Monaco, your home race for you.
Yeah, we should have done that. That would have been pretty cool. I don't think it would have been that exciting. There's not much passing opportunities for F1 cars there, so I can imagine how bad it would have been with supercars. But maybe a reverse grid race would have been pretty cool there. That would have spiced things up. A bit of contact and rubbing. So maybe next year.
How brave are you feeling?
How brave am I feeling? Oh, I don't know. I'm normally pretty brave or stupid, one of the two. So
just remember no swearing.
Yeah, that's right. Promise that.
I behaved myself.
Well, let's just start with Tammy, who's asking plenty of questions about your current drivers, future for your drivers ahead of iRacing. Now, she's talking about Josh and Jared. I love this because you're thinking everyone's going to be asking about the Supercars drivers. She wants to know what's their future, maybe even outside of iRacing.
100% if we're in the iRacing Championship next year, which I hope we are. If there is one, I think it's still yet to be confirmed, and I really hope there is, because I think it's been really exciting. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, as long as Josh and Jared want to stay with us, we'd love to keep them on board. They've been fantastic to work with. You know, in my opinion, they're the best two drivers on the grid. I'm biased, obviously, and I'm shamelessly biased in what I say.
The first and second championship, which helps.
But yeah, exactly. So you know, we'd love to work with them again.
I can see the headline now. Walkinshaw confirms driver lineup for 2020 E-Series.
Go for it. That'd be great.
It'll just get so many clicks right now.
Yeah.
Brett wants to know the Camaro. This is a question that you get asked a lot. Are we ever going to see the Camaro on the grid?
I don't think we'll see it on the grid in supercars. I think the lifespan of that product probably kills that off, and as well until we get a change to the roll hoop height. You know, it's gonna make that look like a pretty silly car. Which, and at the end of the day, we're not going to go and race something that's not aesthetically accurate to the original product. But who knows? I mean, with a few less regulations in iRacing, maybe we can create a model and maybe race it in the E-Series in the future. That'd be pretty cool.
We have been talking about getting a Mustang in. If we have a Mustang, I think we need the Camaro. At least the ZB obviously would be an option as well for iRacing. Get the modern day cars in there.
Yeah, they could be. That'd be pretty cool to try a few different things.
This is actually something that I posed to you off air, and it's someone that Bones has asked us now. How did you pick your drivers for the E-Series? Because some teams picked it off the draft, but you hand-picked your guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said previously during the telecast, I mean, we wanted to do this. If we're going to do it, we wanted to do it properly. So we wanted to go and get the best two drivers that we could find. We've actually looked, in part of my Walkinshaw group, we actually looked at starting an esports team outside of iRacing and the Supercars E-Series. And so we made some good contacts on that. We've not actually progressed with that yet because we've not found the right solution for us. But, you know, looking at things like, you know, Call of Duty and League of Legends and things like that, you know, it's a really good business you can create out of that if you get it right.
Because we see that with AFL teams. They have esports teams that have nothing to do with footy.
Absolutely, and that's why I think the benefit of motorsport and esports really works together. There's a lot of synergies there, and it's really authentic. It seems a bit disingenuous when you have an AFL team with a Fortnite team. It's, you know, there's no crossover of fan base, whereas I think what this series has really done is demonstrate that, you know, that racing's exciting, the talent of the drivers is really strong, and we have crossed over fans from supercars who may have mocked this as something that they thought was not really something that they took seriously. But actually, the amount of people have come up and say, you know, I've really enjoyed watching the E-Series. You know, I've got a new appreciation for it. Really love watching your drivers.
Because the racing's been fantastic.
But I've had so much feedback, even on Twitter, and people throwing in comments, and it's racking up nearly 100,000 views an episode. Like, it's it's pulling big numbers.
Yeah, and that's what the power of esports, and that's the power of being so connected with a young audience as well. They're really in tune to what's going on, and we're going through that process of looking at the esports team. We made a lot of contacts in the industry, and the first thing we did was start ringing up some of those contacts and said, we want you to help us find the two best drivers. And, you know, Josh, I think we had some guys in the team we already knew about, and then Jared came up as well, and they just seemed perfect fit. Met with them, and you know, they're fantastic, and you know, obviously it's been a good partnership. So.
I'm actually struggling to follow the stream. There's that many coming in, so that's a hugely positive sign.
You know
I love
what everyone wants to ask about.
I know. We'll get there. We'll get there. We can't go straight into the top. I like this one. This is totally out of left field. David says, "How can I get a job with the Walkinshaw crew?" E-Series or real life?
Depends what he wants to do.
Can you change tyres? Can you write press releases? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for new people. We're always looking for interns and for people who want to go and do a bit of work experience. If he's got, you know, if he's got some credentials, send your resume in. We get plenty. We get about 5 or 6 a week from people who join the team. I've even had once before, one guy who did a video of our cars splashing through puddles to the music, singing in the rain, and sent that to me and said, I want to be your new commercial director based off the video, which was pretty unique. So you know,
that Bruce Stewart?
Yeah. And you got the job. Well done, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Bruce will be watching as well, so he'll love that. That's good.
How about this one from Geordie? How do I get into competitive iRacing? So that's an unusual one. I guess it depends what's your level of competitive.
Yeah, I think that actually the beauty of all esports is how accessible it is. And that's the great thing with people who want to get into things like iRacing. It's relatively efficient for you to be able to do so. You don't have to go and buy the whole rig setup. You know, even Logitech have got some great, reasonably priced entry-level hardware that you can get for not very much money, and you can just give it a crack. I guess like anything, commitment, determination, and a bit of talent as well is always going to help you. but that's the beauty of esports. That's what we've seen. That's why it's such a growing industry, because when you've got players of certain sports, like rugby and football and so on, who may not be the physical size that they want to be competitive, but deep down they're competitive. They get
I know that pain.
they get to play a sport where it doesn't matter how fat, slim, tall, short you are.
Yep.
It really comes down to everyone's really equal to doing it. So it opens the ability for a lot of people who want to be competitive but aren't physically able to go and compete on a footy pitch, for example, to get rid of some of that frustration and compete on the platform.
And I think that you're you're the epitome. You're the poster boy of someone who can play esports and also still have a girlfriend. Because there's a lot of conjecture that you can't do both. And I think you can, and your girlfriend Hayley is in the audience here tonight.
She is.
She's absolutely gorgeous. You're totally audience. She's a lone member here. You're absolutely batting there. But it's good to see that, yes, boys, you can play esports.
We nearly got through a night where Briony didn't insult the guest.
That is a compliment.
Impressive.
We nearly made it. All right, let's get to the question which everyone is asking, and the reason why I'm struggling to keep up with this, I can actually hear Hayley laughing in the crowd right now, is because everyone wants to know about the 2020 driver lineup. So we've confirmed your E-Series lineup.
And you're announcing it
tonight. Let's have a look at some contenders. Yes or no? Is this man a contender for next year? Certainly a few people putting this guy's name forward. The rumour mill won't stop mentioning Chaz Mostert.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been linked to nearly every single potential driver that's available, nationally and internationally. So I don't know how long you've got for this this video, but there might be about 24, 25 different candidates.
So Richie Stanaway, Bryce Forward there as well. He's flying at the moment.
Yeah, no, there's been loads of really good options this year. That's why it's been interesting. And this is the first year since Michael and Zach came on board as partners of the team that we've actually had the ability and opportunity to look at the driver market. When they came on board, we had JC and Scotty locked in for relatively long-term deals. So actually being able to go and explore that has been a really, really good process to go through and to reevaluate what we want to try and look like and be as a team going forward.
So I know you're not going to be able to tell us.
No, I can't.
I know you can't. But have they been signed? Have you got 2 drivers signed?
I think I can probably say that we've got our drivers set for next season, or at least decided for next season.
When are we going to find out? Is it going to be?
You're not going to have to wait you're not going to have to wait too long, I'd say.
Well, the show finishes
within the next few weeks.
Before the final race, which starts in about 3 minutes.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, you're always going to want to announce these things towards the end of the season. You don't want to go into Christmas and New Year because everyone actually forgets about supercars. They've got other more important things. Everyone's on holiday. Everyone's having barbecues in Australia, and everyone's freezing their asses off in the UK or in Europe, and no one's thinking about that. So you kind of get lost. The announcements we're going to make, I think, will be really exciting. So we want to try and maximise the commercial exposure for our partners and so on with that, and get our fans excited so they can go into the holiday period really pumped up for next season. So it'll be within the next couple of weeks.
That's exciting. Your membership base is huge. The team still has so many loyal fans that have followed over from the HRT days. So to get back some good results for them would be huge. Yeah,
we're still the second most followed team in supercars. I believe we've got over 780,000 fans, of which 499 are avid fans. Now, that's a metric we get from Nielsen, who do a lot of our commercial and media evaluation metric data that we present to our sponsors and that we use for our in-house analytics. And so, that's a huge fan base for any sporting team anywhere in the world, right? So we've got a duty to look after those fans and do what we can to, to give them some hope that, we're making the right decisions, getting the right drivers in, and the right, team building blocks to go and give it a good crack over the next couple of years.
You'll have 780,002 fans if you tell us right now who's driving for the team. I mean,
I thought you guys are already fans.
What's the most creative way someone's asked? Because that would have to be up there.
No, it definitely probably is up there. A lot of people try and ask me after I've had a few drinks after a race weekend. There's definitely been a few people who are trying to push me in a corner and try and get it out of me.
Come on, say it. I love it that the team owners' press conference at Darwin, Roland Dane said, I'll try and do my best English accent. He has Chaz's number on speed dial. Yeah. And everyone went, it's funny, and then went, oh, whoa, maybe that's actually a thing. And from that moment, that's been a big rumour up and down pit lane.
Yeah, I think Roland's actually attached us to Chaz and to Dave Reynolds. So I think he was kind of hedging his bets a little bit there, so that whatever way he'd be able to say, like, I was right. But yeah, I think we're going to be pretty excited about who we're bringing on board.
So outside of your current drivers, James Courtney and Scott Pye, who's the last driver that you texted or called?
Who's the last driver? It'll probably be Reynolds. Reynolds normally sends me just horrific content. So I'll have a look. Let's see.
All right.
I got Michael and Zachary messaging me because I let them know that we just won the championship for the E-Series. And I've got a couple of nice and
SVG had Max Verstappen. You've got Michael Andretti texting you. That's
who have I got? Actually, no. Actually, it's an old driver. We've got Russell Ingall here. He's quite far there. We've got Jack Perkins.
His resume, no doubt.
And one of my drivers for next year, potentially.
Give us your phone. That's good. I'll leave the final say on this one to Glenn,
You've been a very good sport, Ryan.
You've done very well, mate. Glenn on Facebook says, Chazza and Wazza has a great ring to it for an endurance lineup. So for no other reason, I reckon that needs to be...
I hadn't even thought of that, but that's...
Chazza, imagine the marketing off that.
Yeah,
Enduro combo.
Yeah, Chazza Wazza. There you go. Well done. All right, it all finishes this weekend, of course, in Newcastle. But our series finishes in Bathurst tonight. But that is just around the corner. We cannot wait to get to the final round of the championship on the streets of Newcastle. This is what it's going to look and sound like.
The last stop in the 2019 Supercars Championship.
This is the Cotai Grand Finale in Newcastle.
Where history has proven bittersweet.
They're going to crash!
Because these streets come with no guarantees. Every practice, qualifying and race with no ad breaks during racing. The Newcastle 500, live on Fox Sports.
We cannot wait to get there. It is just a couple of sleeps away. Yes, the championship has been decided, but the team's championship is still very much alive, and that fight will go down to the wire between the Red Bull Holden Racing team, who've got over 100 points to make up to the Shell V-Power Racing team, and they're both race winners on that circuit. Okay, this is the championship picture with one to play. In our championship fight right now, it's a 1-2 as it stands for Walkinshaw Andretti United. But it's not over yet. Dane Warren is still just within a sniff of this one. He needs to probably win and hope that Jared finishes last. It's a big ask. Madison Down fighting for third in this championship. Still technically a mathematical possibility there. Burton can only finish as high as fourth. And Ethan Gould, out of nowhere, has got himself potentially into a money-paying spot. He would need some luck there as well. He's about 33 points down in car 33. So can he try and fire up through the field? So all the money still to play for. That's the important thing. With one race to go. And remember, it's $10,000 to win the championship, $7,500 for second. So as it stands, a 1-2 for you is worth $17,500. That's probably more than you actually get for being first and second in the Supercars Championship as well, because we don't typically prize money as much as a spread of TV dollars.
No, in fact, it normally costs that amount of money plus a couple of zeros to finish the championship. So
much cheaper way to go racing, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the future.
It's commercially viable. One of our people did ask actually a moment ago, do sponsors like the E-Series? I'll ask you about that one in a second as we check out the grid. And, well, there you go. You've got a front row lockout, so it's the perfect chance to lock down 1 and 2 in the points. Dane Warren will not go quietly out of this one yet. He's starting third, and he's going to throw everything at those two Walkinshaw cars. Hampstead, what a night he's having. He's fourth at the moment on points for the evening. That's how we set the grid for this one. Looking further afield, who's got some work to do here? Madison Down out of 5th and Burton out of 7th. So that's the fight. Oh, and Ethan Gould as well. So 5th, 6th and 7th. Gridding up in the race, they're all going to be fighting for 4th and 5th in the championship, so there's a lot to watch out for there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you look at, I guess, the last couple of rows, Ian Ford, Emily Jones, Brenton Hopson and Josh Muggleton, they've, like we said at the start of the show, they've got nothing to lose now, so they can run a completely alternate strategy. They can, do whatever they want to either hinder or help the people around them.
Yeah, big thank you to everyone watching and throwing us their questions right now online. That was really a lot of fun and how beautifully handled by Ryan Walkinshaw as well. Let's go racing at Mount Panorama. The final race for the season. How cool is this? You just get excited every time you see that famous front straight at Mount Panorama. And Rogers out and beautifully up towards the first corner like a cannon. That thing just launched perfectly. The 0 to 100 on that would have been absolutely mind-bending as he climbs the mountain in the lead. Much shorter distance than the last time we went racing here, Briony. That was 250 Ks. Tonight, just the 8 laps.
Yeah, just 8 laps. And we've spoken to quite a few of the drivers who are used to running those longer distances. And one thing that they've really had to get their minds around is doing these shorter 8-lap races and how to work a strategy around that. As we see, that is Ethan Gould getting past Jake Burton there in the lead up to the cutting.
So this is potentially for 5th in the championship. He would need Jake to fall back a few spots as we climb the mountain. It's Rogers, Philsell, Warren. Watch how close these guys get to the wall across the top. The commitment's huge. Just 8 laps to get the job done. And they will be wall to wall across the grate. And if you get it wrong, you can get some damage, and it's a long way back from there. This has been an exciting way to wrap up the championship already. First, second, third, and fourth is exactly how they sit in the points. Let's go to Jonathan. How's it playing out?
At the moment, pretty stagnant. I guess the drivers down the back of the pack could look to undercut in this short race, but very, very stagnant start from Mount Panorama.
Yeah, we're not seeing too much battling either. What's the track temperature at the moment? Are we going to see much of an undercut?
Track temp very cold, so undercut probably won't work as well as usual. About 29 degrees Celsius. But again, you know, it's only lap 1, and these tyres around Mount Panorama, they do last a good 2 laps. On lap 3, you finally start to feel the wear for the first time. All
right, finally, Jonathan, we should see some pretty quick lap times then if it's cold.
Yeah, possibly, as we see, I see a driver in the back of the pack struggling. Could be Josh Muggleton, who's had a slide. But yeah, you're right, about... I mean, I don't want to predict anything, but certainly the quickest times you'll see on iRacing. These are the best iRacers on the planet.
All right, looks like we've got one into the pits early, so a roll of the dice there. It might be Greg Gault who's come out of the queue of cars. It's one of... Oh, it's Ian Ford. Wow, reverse strategy from Ian Ford.
What?
Blow me down. Ian
this?
Ford's the first to pit. Not sure if he had damage or something, but that's the first time we've seen him pit first in any race this year.
If I didn't have so much Botox, you'd see my surprised face right now. That was a joke, by the way.
Explain why she took so long in makeup earlier. Yeah. We go up through turn 2, and the fight is on between Rogers, Philsell, Warren for the final time. Dane Warren, due a race win, I reckon. The last of the teams to have claimed a race win.
It's kind of unbelievable to think that we could go through an entire series without the Red Bull Holden Racing driver winning a race. You'd have to think coming into this that he would have been one of the favoured drivers, not only for the championship, but also for race wins. But he's been achingly close a couple of times, just has not been able to translate that into a race win. We've seen pole positions, we've seen,
we've seen
how many
a ton
podiums?
of seconds, I think.
6, 7 podiums so far.
Finished second 5 times without getting a race win.
We need to call him Russell Ingall, bridesmaid. That's a reference for older people.
There'll be a few fans who
in the 90s.
Who know exactly how good Russell was at allotting the podiums but not getting the wins and the poles. Got himself a championship though. Was he throwing the resume in, Ryan? Was that what the text was?
I've already had Russell racing for me. Cost too much on panel damage.
Down Conrod on lap 2. So early pit stop for Ian Ford. So he's got clean racetrack now. A
little bit of debris flying up in the air from the side of the track there.
Love it.
No, you've been very well behaved tonight. You're saving it all for late in the race, I can see. Here we go, pit stop. So different strategies between the teammates.
This is good. I like to see a different strategy between the two teammates.
Agreed. Can't follow him around all night. Now, I wonder if, since he wasn't on pole this time, he might get a little bit of a payback for getting the better pit box.
True. Jake Burton in the background there following Jared into pit lane.
Yeah, let's see where they wash out with Ian Ford, who was the first to pit. He'll be motoring down Connor at the moment.
This is actually a good opportunity for Dane Warren to try and take advantage of this and try and try and overtake while Jared's in the pits. To be honest, I think he might could have a good opportunity here.
All right, Ian Ford. Haven't seen much of Ian tonight. Became a dad at the very beginning of the season in September. So it's been a big year for Ian. Going past the pit straight right now, and are we about to see a Walkinshaw car come out? No, it's a Brad Jones car, so the Walkinshaw car is well clear. So not much of an undercut there for Ian, and also Josh Muggleton. He's a really early pit stopper as well, and Brady Myers have all stopped. Trying to get some heat into those front tyres. I don't know about you, but I just get excited every time I see Bathurst. Doesn't matter if it's virtual or if it's real, it's just always cool. It's the kind of place that gets the hairs on the back of the neck standing up, and they've just recreated it so brilliantly in iRacing.
Actually, the attention to detail
Yep.
is mind-blowing, isn't it?
So
As
cool.
you know, we've been privileged to be there
Yep.
in real life many a time, and it's just like watching it on television.
100%. What was your first Bathurst 1000? Do you remember the first time you went there?
I think
you'd have been very young.
Yeah, I was pretty young. I think I went.
I remember you there. You had frosted tips, and you were still a DJ. almost at that point.
That was when I started. That was when I took over the race team. Yeah, that wasn't my first Bathurst. So my first Bathurst, I went back in. It would have been the late 90s. I think probably would have been my first Bathurst, and then I went, I believe, in 2005 or 6.
Okay.
I can't remember.
These boys are clever here. They know that they're under fire from an undercut. Oh, gee, that was maximum attack on the way in. Just gaining up those 1 or 2 precious car lengths that you can do when you're on the way in, but you lose those at pit exit when the other guy is first to get off the pit limiter. So Dane Warren following the Rogers car in. Here comes car number 22, Jared Philsell, to complete another lap. And everyone making their pit stops early.
Oh, half race distance already. This race has gone by really fast.
This will go by pretty quickly, this one. Well, it's a start of lap 4 now. And out of the pits we go. This will be really, really tight. Dane Warren's got him, I reckon. This will be close if he can cover him. He'll chase him all the way to the white line. And you watch, Dane will just park that Red Bull car on the right-hand side. Philsell's got the momentum, though. Can he get back to second? Oh, with a big slide.
A little bit of wobble.
Gee, that was brave from both of them, and Philsell is the driver who prevails. Just rubbing that wall on the way up towards turn 2. We saw that in the Enduro here as well. They just grazed that mirror. Look at the back of that car dancing around. Still cold tyres for Dane Warren, who's chasing Jared Philsell. His tyres will be nice and warm. Wow, that was really, really close. So very early pit stops in this one, Jonathan.
Yeah, and like I said, the tyres are at their best for about 2 or 3 laps. So that's why Jared just wasn't able to make the undercut work. If anything, it was actually worse for him, just being on cold tyres when everybody else had fresh rubber. So just another salt in the wound for Jared. I mean,
I know.
He just can't seem to finish in first place this round.
Yeah, but at least he tried something different. Wasn't going to beat him doing the same thing. So.
No, certainly not. And now I spoke to you about a 1x incident point. So at you have your slowdowns and you have your cut tracks, which you receive a 1x. Toughest part about Bathurst, or the easiest part, is you can't actually cut the track at most places. So what the drivers will do is they can deliberately cut the pit entrance like you saw, receive a 1x, and it'll be the only 1x they receive for the race, because if you receive 17, you get disqualified.
Yeah, right. And unless you're on a 17-stop strategy, which I doubt any of them are, that's probably not going to be a problem. So thank you very much, Jonathan, watching things on from down in Melbourne, and has been an integral part of this series. So we are now at the halfway point of the final race. It's a familiar couple of cars sitting first and second, but Dane Warren is on here. He's got a really good exit out of Murray's, and at Hell Corner, he's not quite close enough. Jared going very, very late. Getting a really nice exit as well, so he'll be protected up the straight. I reckon Jared is maybe the best under brakes in the entire series. He is really, really hard to pass under brakes. We've seen that all season long, which is why he's so good at attacking as well.
Surely Dane's going to have a crack. He's going to have a big crack.
Yeah.
If you were him, you would, wouldn't you?
He's got nothing to lose if he can go up to second.
Yeah.
But he needs to win the race to be able to finish second in the championship. So he needs to pass, and pass quickly here. We're right on board with him right now. Have a listen to this thing. It just sounds so cool as we climb the mountain. I love it. On the grate like it's a shootout lap every single time, and that's the level that these guys are at. All the way to the curb at McPhillamy. Here comes Skyline. Float the car through here. So easy to lock the rears. Ride it down in second gear, the dipper. Feed the power back on through the S's, third gear. Stay in third on the entrance to the elbow, back it down to first, which is the Richie Stanaway first gear corner. Used to take that line in the wet. And back down and pulling through the gears up towards sixth gear, 290 kilometers per hour. Tucked in nice and close, a chance here at the chase. The Logitech data climbing to 280, 285, and now he can pull out and make this move. Philsell goes defensive. Stalked him for half a lap. Can he get the switch back? Needs the tiny bit of overlap to the bottom of the hill. Philsell will go defensive again.
I was giving him a little nudge.
getting feisty. Chance for a switch back here at turn 23. Can't get the car stopped in time. Good fight. And that was the perfect viewpoint for it. And Madison down now in this fight as well. So 3-car fight for second. Ethan Griggoult not quite enough to take 5th in the championship. As far as I believe, Jake Burton will be doing just enough where he is.
Ryan, what's the fastest you've ever been around the Mount Panorama circuit? Have you done a hot lap or anything with any of your drivers across the years?
No, sadly not. And
it's a hard place to do a hot lap.
Yeah, it's really, they were very, very strict about it when I first started in supercars, and it's only become harder and harder now. We actually do an event after the 12-hour where we do a Walkinshaw and HSV track day event, supported by Mobil One traditionally as well. But unfortunately, I've missed it every single year, so it's pretty disappointing. But I have gone around in the safety car before, just to try and get a feel for it. Back when I first started in 2010, which was pretty special. And I know that Michael Andretti has gone around in the safety car as well, I believe.
Yes. Was that with Murph, I wonder? Oh, no, that was Zach that went with Murph.
I think, yeah, Zach went with Murph.
This is really close across the top at the moment, so running through the dip. How about Emily Jones? This is the fight for 9th at the moment. She's chasing Brady in the Fox Sports car. It's been a rough run for Brady. Came in as the #1 draft pick. I think people really expected big things, but hasn't been the year that he would have wanted. He's shown speed at times. Just qualifying is his weakness. His car speed is really, really quick.
And penalties. I think he's probably got more penalties than any other driver this series.
Have you still got the Walkinshaw Porsche, the GT3 car?
No, we don't. That was actually owned by the driver that we ran it with, Liam Roberts. So I'm pretty sure he's picked that up. I'd have to have a look around the workshop. It might still be there.
It's the sort of thing you'd know if it was gone. I just sort of had a thought bubble to wonder if you guys still have that car that you ran at the 12-hour.
It was a very cool. Yeah, it was a very cool race car.
The fight is building here, and they're picking up more passengers. Looks like Ethan Griggoult in the first of the Boost Mobile cars is catching up. He's really started to firm in the last few rounds as the lead guy at GRM. Ian's had some pretty good race results, but with his race win, Ethan, and another podium tonight, he's really putting that pressure on for 5th in the championship. Oh, have a look at the defensive driving from Phil Sell. He's parking that car hard on the line on the right-hand side. Desperate to hang on to 2nd in this race.
And look what that's allowing. It's allowing not only Madison, but also
Ethan Griggoult.
Ethan to get up on the back of this train too.
4-car fight. They'll probably pick up Jake Burton here the way they're going. Lap times are quick, very quick. 2:04.2 the best from Josh Rogers. 2:04.21 from Dane Warren. His single lap speed is really quick. So Warren, Phil Sell and Rogers have been the best in qualifying all year. Then probably Madison down. I feel like Jake Burton's weak point again is 1-lap speed. His race pace is excellent, his race craft is excellent, but he's even said so himself. His single lap pace is what he needs to pick up. It's hard to pick anything in Josh Rogers' game that isn't strong right now. He's very good at qualifying, he's very good at racing, he's very good at passing, and he's incredible at strategizing from the race seat. Remember, these guys don't have pit crew in their ears telling them when to pit. Warren's close again, but not close enough. Unless he comes from a long way back. Phil Sell's so good under brakes. Just putting that car awkwardly where it needs to be.
Got a nice exit.
Yeah. Every time Dane gets a nice exit, he just parks the car on the left-hand side. He's missing a bit of bodywork there by the looks of things. Looks like it's been running at the Gold Coast. Oh, he's got him now. He's got the overlap. Just enough. And Phil Sell can't chase him to the fence. The door is open. Man, he has worked and worked and worked at that one. And watch for Madison down and Ethan Griggoult as well. They go side by side. If Ethan can pick up a few spots, there might be enough points in this to get him to 5th in the championship. Side by side up Mountain Straight for the final time in the final lap of the season. And Phil Sell's going to hang on to this.
Whoa.
Just. That's the 2nd time this season we've seen Dane Warren try go around the outside there and come away empty-handed. He gave him so much room at turn 1. It was very sporting, but it's ultimately cost him that spot. Good scrap. Greg Gould couldn't quite get the job done on Madison Down, and Jake Burton still working the back of that car as well. Good fight for the final race, and now onto the final lap.
Just like that, our first season Gfinity Supercar Eseries is almost coming to a close. Hard to believe, but also it seems quite fitting that first, second, third in this race are likely to be first, second and third in the championship.
Make that fourth as well. And then fifth and sixth are the wrong way around. But the top six here on the track, Briony, you bring up a really good point, have definitely firmed as the best six in the championship now. They are the top six in points. Fitting that they should all be in the top six in the final race. Conrad for the final time. Had more laps at Bathurst than any other circuit on the tour this year. 49 laps in total at this one track. Oh, one more chance here for Warren. But again, Phil Sell is just too wily. Just knows where to place that Walkinshaw car. And unless he tries something very aggressive down the bottom, Phil Sell covers and won't be happening there. But at the front of the field, once again, driving the perfect race and picking up race win number 9. Well done, Josh Rogers. And it's another Walkinshaw Andretti 1-2 in the fence in the background.
Oh.
Don't tell me that was Muggleton. It was Ian Ford, I think. So right on the checkered flag, someone dispatching Ian Ford. And I think he may have been fighting with Brady Myers at the time, but it was a hard one to see. Well, Ryan, chalk it down. 1-2 on the road, 1-2 in the championship.
Yeah, it's awesome. Such a good job from both the drivers. Super happy for them and everyone in the team. It's been an absolutely almost perfect campaign by Josh, and you know, heavily supported by Jared. So incredibly happy.
Let's see what kind of burnouts the team. We saw some pretty impressive burnouts at the first Bathurst endurance race after there was a 1-2.
They're trying to do tandem skids here. There we go. We've got it going now.
There we go.
Oh, that's impressive. That's going to put a smile on the
contact. Oh no, it's just like our driver's IRL.
It was Winton and Darwin all over again in the Tander Courtney era. I was kind of been taking that focus away from you guys lately and trying to spin it back onto yourself. I love it.
I kind of wanted to see one of the finales like I saw in the warm-up race when I first got it, where it's a lot less composed by all these guys, and I don't know if anyone at home has ever seen it, but they just seem to all just crash into each other and do about 1,000 flips in the air. So.
Imagine a rock concert where they don't want to play encores and they just tear everything down. That's exactly what these guys do typically at the end of a race.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
When the clock stops and they're no longer getting the penalty points for it. Well, that wraps up a sublime year. You can't ask for anything more than a 1-2 in the championship.
No, absolutely not.
Let's check out the highlights. It was a 1-2 off the front of the grid, and they finished that way. Josh's start was crazy quick. Just absolutely got catapulted off the front row and was a clear leader down at turn 1. A couple other results. Richard Hampstead did a good job to run with the leaders there. He finished up 7th. I think Josh Muggleton had some issues, dropped to the back of the field. There's definitely some drama at the end of that race as well. I'll try and get to the bottom of what happened there, but the front pack never really changed throughout the course of that race, Briony.
Yes, as you mentioned, it was Josh Rogers out in front and in control. Dane Warren did his best to get around Jared Filsell for 2nd place. And this was the attempt, potentially one of the attempts, to get past him. Couldn't quite make it stick though, unfortunately.
He tried and tried. And Dane Warren, I love the Jamie Whincup high side attempt through turn 2, trying to replicate Jamie's last lap attempt of 2013. So Rogers down to the last corner and sliding his way to victory. There was definitely someone who got dispatched into the fence off the last corner. Just watching the background there, wham. I actually reckon that might have been all on his own as well. Then Ian Ford off the back curb. And then how good's this? The two teammates dueling burnouts. I've seen some impressive 1-2s at Bathurst before, but they've picked up a couple this year. And just the perfect way to finish off the championship. Watch out. Time to get silly.
Here we go.
We're going to launch it over the time.
There we go.
One for the sponsors.
Don't we enjoy watching it because it's not real, it hasn't cost anyone a cent.
Yeah, and if you're at the Ridges Hotel, that would have been quite the sight.
That's more like it.
That is awesome.
How funny.
Great.
And Madison Down wins the race back into pit lane.
Now, how do you reckon they organised that? Do you reckon they've all spoken before this round and just gone, right, the end of Bathurst,
How
this
good is
what
that?
we're doing?
Can we make that our Shannon's classic moment?
I think you should. Absolutely. Why would you not?
100%.
The Shannon's car is in there. That is awesome.
Let's hope we don't see that at the Coates Hire Newcastle 500 this weekend.
Oh,
Not
that is good.
intentionally, anyway. That was awesome. How good. Just
Oh,
having
funny.
a good old time at the end.
Yeah.
It's great to see, isn't it?
Bit of Dukes
Yeah,
Hazard
that's
to
right,
finish
yeah.
things off. Well, we've spoken to first and second in the championship so far, so let's tap into the man who finished third and a chance to chat to him right now. Well done, Dane Warren. You pick up some pretty impressive prize money. No race wins for you this year, but you drove brilliantly. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Obviously stoked to have been able to grab P3 for me and the team, but, you know, obviously I wish to go better, but, you know, definitely not going to be disappointed over P3.
It's a proud moment when you can say you've driven for the Red Bull Holden Racing team, and you can now tick that off your resume. That's very impressive, mate.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, half the experience was being able to pair with those guys, and, you know, to be included in the team, that was just amazing. And just to even be in the series itself, it's just been a really great time.
Dane, I guess, you know, this is not the result that you wanted in this season, but we go again. Have you got a bit of an itch in your undercarriage to get going again already for next season and go bigger and better? Maybe even with a teammate this time around, next time around?
Well, if there's two of us, I can tell you the Walkinshaw lads will definitely have quite a hard time keeping two of us behind. But
we've got Ryan on the desk tonight. That's got his attention. We don't mind a bit of banter, mate. That's good. What was the plan then for the Dukes of Hazzard jump over the chase? Talk us through that.
Oh, well, usually at the end of a large Bathurst event on iRacing, we kind of meet at the end of Forest Elbow line up and just send it through the chase. Yeah,
Full send.
That was fantastic.
Well done, mate. Congratulations. You picked up a fair bank of money for finishing third in the championship. So well done to you, and thanks for being a part of a big year.
Yep, cheers, guys. Thanks for everything you've done on the broadcast also. It's been great to watch.
Our pleasure, mate. Thank you for being a part of it. Well done. Congratulations to him. And now it's time to check out the final Shannon's Classic moment of the season. Now, despite our little lobbying for the celebration across the top, it was going to be something a little bit more serious, but a very good battle.
Protest.
All the same.
Yes.
Can you fill out the protest form for this one, please, Ryan? Let's check out this one. Phil versus Warren, too wide up Mountain Straight. And this is the second time that Warren has tried this move this year. It's the Jamie Whincup 2013 move on the outside. And just like Jamie Whincup in 2013, it's almost impossible to make stick. But props are trying. And once again, Phil able to hang on. And once again, Ryan, Jared Phil in almost every single one of these Shannon's Classic moments.
Done all right, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got us a lot of exposure. It's good for the sponsors. I'm happy.
He's a highlight man. Well done. So go to the website. It's now officially open. We'll be announcing the winner online. We've got 3 great moments there. And you can win $500 for just getting on and casting your vote. So you'd be crazy not to do it. That's the final Shannon's Classic moment for the season. All right, so how did they finish up for the final time? Looking from the dipper, it's like this. Josh Rogers by less than a second, and he did it so comfortably. Pushed by his teammate Jared Philsell. They're doing 2:04s. That was their race speed. Very, very quick. And so realistic to what the race speed was like this year, doing, 2:05, 2:04s just about as well. So very, very on the money there. Dane Warren, again, top 3. First, second, third, and fourth, as they are on the leaderboard there, would also be in the championship. And Ethan Griggle just missing out on some money here this year, but doing a really nice job. And Josh Muggleton, the luckless Josh Muggleton, just could not get a year going. All right, we're going to be wrapping things up on the other side of the break. The season has been this exciting all season long. And there is the absolute Kodak moment of the year. That is crazy, crazy stuff. Final break of the year, and we'll go to the final championship order after this.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London and the 2020 Goodwood Revival, one of the biggest historic motorsport events in the world. Plus, tour through the English countryside in a Jaguar F-Pace for 15 days, visiting historic locations and unique motoring museums, with up to $5,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian FTR 1200S motorcycle. To enter, get a quote on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive, your bike or home. Take out a new policy for even more chances of winning. Call Shannons on 1346 46 or go online today.
Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip to London for the Goodwood Revival, an amazing celebration of motorsport covering the 40s, 50s and 60s. Plus, there's also the chance to win this, the incredible Indian FTR 1200S. To enter, just go to shannons.com.au and request a quote. The season for 2019 is complete, and it's Walkinshaw and Andretti United signing off with tandem skids up Mountain Straight. Jared Philsell chasing his teammate Josh Rogers to the championship. They finished 1-2 for the season, and this is how it all washes out. So congratulations to Josh Rogers, following Matt Bink, who was last year's champion, as the second ever E-Series champ in Supercars. Well done to him. Jared Philsell second, so it's a 1-2. What's that, $17,500 between the Walkinshaw and Andretti United teammates. Dane Warren third, great run for Red Bull in the points and in the money. Madison down fourth, and Jake Burton signing off fifth in the points for Brad Jones Racing. And that is enough to wrap up fifth in the championship and also get the last of the prize money as well. So congratulations to him. And it's the perfect man to have in the studio as we can officially or unofficially crown for the first time the Gfinity Supercars E-Series to Ryan Walkinshaw. There we go, mate. That is officially yours. Not quite to take home because we'll give it to Josh at the gala.
Give it to Josh at the gala. Yeah, I think this is Josh and Jared's and the whole team. They all deserve it. They've all been working really, really hard. And, you know, as he said earlier, Josh has had an almost flawless campaign. He's done a spectacular job. So, you know, he thoroughly deserves it. But also, you know, I think he had a lot of support in the background, working closely with Jared. You know, they've been a genuine, you know, two-person team in a lot of this as well. So, you know, there's a lot of work that Jared's put into this as well. But yeah, awesome to be the first guys to win this this trophy. Hopefully we'll be able to come back next year and give it a shot. It sounds like Red Bull and Dane want to go and give it a shot with the two
Gone out with a bang, hasn't he?
Yeah. Like, boom. Trash.
Bring it on. Trash talking.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then, yeah, obviously, you know, huge thanks to all the other competitors because, you know, this wouldn't mean anything if it wasn't for the quality and calibre of the guys who've been racing against, and girls, sorry. You know, it's been really, really special to see, and, you know, they've all done a fantastic job this season.
Well done, mate. It's been a fantastic campaign all through season 2019, to use a gaming term. And this is exactly how it played out. So from the very first race back in September, 6 rounds of this championship, live here for Gfinity for round 1. The highlight for Walkinshaw and Andretti United, a 1-2 at Mount Panorama in the Mini Enduro, and then off to the Americas Briony for the 3 races there and over to Europe.
Yeah, exactly, and that was where it was a Walkinshaw and Andretti United clean sweep with Nürburgring, Zandvoort and Imola. Then we headed back to England, where it was Josh bookending, I guess, the races with Ethan Griggold taking the win there. And then, as we have just seen tonight, another 2 for Josh Rogers, with Madison Down taking another win.
Yeah, 9 in total. So 9 race wins, flight of podiums, more top 5s, the championship. Now, it's virtual racing, yes, it's sim racing, but there's nothing virtual about this trophy, and that $17,500 is very real. So there's definitely cause to celebrate how big this championship has become and how real esports is.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, and you alluded to it early on in the show, you know, we're getting over 100,000 people watching this telecast, which is significant. You know, that's a lot more than a lot of other sports and a lot of other countries. So, you know, just for us in our first season doing this, you know, as Supercars, I think is a really, really good job. Well done. And, you know, I think the telecast has been fantastic. The job you guys have done has been fantastic as well. And everyone behind the scenes, I think it's been a really, really awesome season. I think everyone involved should be really proud of what they've achieved.
Yeah, thank you for being a part of the final night, mate. Great to have you here. Looking forward, obviously, to Newcastle. That's coming up next. Thank you to Briony and Jonathan Simon for his work as well. It's been a huge, huge run, but a very special goodbye to all of the Gfinity team. This is the last ever broadcast to happen in this fantastic studio. They've done an amazing job in building everything and all the rigs and the set. So congratulations to them, and particularly to Coit McInerney as well, because she's just built this entire empire around us. To Adam and the team upstairs, thank you for all your hard work. The Gfinity Supercars E-Series brought to you by Shannons has been a huge success. Thank you for watching. Join us for Newcastle for the Supercars finale. It's going to be fantastic. Good night.